fountain of authentic information for this dispensation and dispensations to come. Join the team of panelists Mondays to Saturdays, 8 p.m. locally, 4 Eastern Time, and other timings across the world. Tune into our radio services, Spoon 107.5, Fabric 101.1, and Super 95.5. We can also be reached on social media through Facebook or YouTube on Spoon TV, Fabric TV, and Super TV Live. Locally tune in to Super TV Channel 10. Spoon Talk, Spoon Talk, Spoon Talk, setting Liberia's agenda for national growth.
Yes, a special one from the CEO, stand coming with the spoon. And your boy, Friday the Southern Band, charges on the beat.
To the spoon to get your information. To the spoon to be part of our discussion. Spoon, spoon, spoon television. Spoon, spoon, spoon radio station.
Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Liberia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Monrovia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Africa. Just to spoon you will know. If the children crying for starvation, just to spoon. You want to get a news update, my brother, to spoon. You want to know what is happening, Moravia, to spoon. Politicians want to make their decision, just to spoon. You want to know what's happening in the ministry, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. You from Fonjema, Maryland, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. If you eat Cape Town, congratulate my brother, to spoon. You got a Spoon TV, you got a Spoon Radio, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon.
You wanna get a news update, to spoon.
What? Yeah, Rastafari. Kilibamba, 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 kilibamba. What I want? Yes, what you got today?
Spoon TV.
Yes, what you got today?
Spoon TV. Spoon
Ba. Skidibidi dabado.
Spoon TV. Spoon Entertainment.
Kua. Bese kua dileo. Kua dileo.
To the spoon to get
Yes,
your information.
Well,
To the spoon to be
yes,
Spoon television.
yes, I
Yes, a special one from the CEO, stand coming with the spoon. And your boy, Friday the Southern Band, charges on the beat.
To the spoon to get your information. To the spoon to be part of our discussion. Spoon television. Spoon radio station.
Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Liberia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Monrovia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Africa. Just to spoon you will know. If the children crying for starvation, just don't spoon. You want to get a news update, my brother, don't spoon. You want to know what is happening, Moravia, don't spoon. Politicians want to make their decision, just don't spoon. You want to know what happening in the ministry, don't spoon. Yeah, don't spoon. Yeah, don't spoon. You from Funjama, Maryland, don't spoon. Yeah, don't spoon. If you eat Cape Town, congratulate my brother, don't spoon. You got a spoon TV, you got a spoon radio, don't spoon. Yeah, don't spoon.
You want to get a news update? Don't spoon.
What? Yeah, Rastafari. Kilibamba, 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 kilibamba. What I want? Yes, what you got today?
School TV. School
Yes, what you got today?
School
Besetu.
School TV. School
Barabadeba.
School
Skidibidi dabado.
School TV. School entertainment.
Kua. Bese kua, go to there. Kua,
To the school to get
Yes,
your
I
information.
Kua.
To the school to be
Yes, I
School television.
Yes, I
School radio station. Ooh,
Yeah.
School television.
Yes, I, a special one from the CEOs, Dan coming with the spoon. And your boy, Friday the South man. Charges on the beat.
To the school to get your information. To the school to be part of our discussion. School television. School radio station.
Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Liberia.
Okay.
Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Moravia.
A pleasant good evening and welcome
Tell you what is happening in Africa.
to yet another edition of
Just
the Spoon Talk
Spoon you
on Spoon FM and the Spoon TV.
For starvation, just don't spoon.
We are also coming to you live
Take my brother to spoon.
via Fabric Radio and TV
It's happening Moravia.
and also Super FM.
Politicians want to make their decision, just don't spoon.
So good evening and welcome wherever you are, whatever you are doing.
In the ministry,
Please tell somebody that your favorite nighttime show is on and about to inform you with all of the major current information that you need to know. My name is Yekezi Zuobel. I'm your producer tonight. And of course, let me go over to the team, Dr. Richardson and James Samuel Goodeflomo. Good evening.
Hi, Yekesi. Hi, good day. How are you guys doing?
Well, I'm okay.
I'm good.
Oh, that's good. Good to see you guys on this Friday. I'm happy that we can fill in. I believe our other partners, our colleagues, are doing humanity work. They are in Minnesota today. They will be joining us, perhaps given their time, and some of us will be here today. One of the things that I really like about Spoon is their tendency to do humanitarian work, going out and supporting and sponsoring Liberians' endeavors. So I really appreciate my colleagues for doing that. So when I have to be here with you too, Yekezi and Good Day, as they go out there, I have no problem doing so. How are you guys doing today? Got money you club? You, we can hear you, James. We can hear you.
Oh, okay. I said
James, we're
God
not hearing
money
you.
us. God money
Mhm.
us. We are still
Yeah,
moving.
yeah,
I was
yeah.
muted.
Yeah, infinite. What you got money that what that 100% club?
Oh yeah, as long as you get life, you are good.
Okay, yeah, I saw you wrote your thing again. You were talking about my party after the show. We're talking in the back. Mm-hmm. You
Are
must
you
say
calling
I
me
am
good good bad?
I am your mom on the show. Yeah, you're supposed to be respecting me and my party, but you don't do that. When I tell the show me, I see be putting all your thing there on Facebook about my party. Don't do that.
I was just going back to history.
Whatever. Yeah, I can see how you doing. Yeah, don't mind. Good day.
I'm okay. I'm okay. Thank God.
Yeah, how Morovia?
Yeah, Monrovia is relatively okay.
Okay, that's a good term,
Yeah.
relatively. Yeah, the boy no book man. I like when I'm talking to book people when they say relatively. You
That
should
ball
know
at
what to
Nima
say.
ball.
Huh?
That ball from Nima.
You see, the man for that yeah, that book business, that man that gear man.
A man, man.
Minor.
Okay.
They
I would
making
say
even pronounce the Sunday name correct. Man, man.
yeah, the boy actually I was gonna tell you to I was going to tell you that when you think about people who are speakers on radio, you have a good voice. Yeah, I can see for that. I don't know if you practice that in school, but I just wanted to
Man.
compliment you to tell you that the tone of your voice really match being a radio speaker. So or how you guys call it or whatever. So keep up the good work. Even though
Thank you.
James tried to tell you that you're speaking Siri or whatever before you
Yeah, man. Man.
Don't mind you.
too much, too much. Okay, anyway, guys, we have a serious, very, very serious show today. And it is a pleasure for all of us to be here today. We'll be joined by my colleagues. They are coming on. They're right now in Minnesota, as they announced to you yesterday, knocking on doors for Liberians that are running for positions, leadership positions in Minnesota. They are knocking on doors to support those Liberians. And Spoon TV being such the nature of Spoon TV, we support Liberian-owned Liberian businesses. So I'm just I'm in awe about that. Honestly, today we're gonna have ECOWAS Parliament here. They'll be. Are they in studio? Are they coming in studio? You can see or
Yeah.
okay.
They come in studio.
Yes, they'll be coming in studio to join us to discuss election security, voting security. They're going to talk about the whole concept of biometrics and how influences just a peaceful election. They're going to be just talking about their work that they're doing in a region. What are they doing in Liberia right now? So we're going to look forward to just having a great conversation and a thankful conversation that we can have another body that is regional that will be coming into our country to assess the situation as it relates to our elections and how they can help us and we can help ourselves to have a free and fair elections in our country. Um, and of course, we're supposed to get another guest in the studio. I don't know if he's there yet, but yeah, I guess you keep your ears open for Mohammed Dukle. He's running in Bopolu. He's expected to come
Okay.
and join us in this conversation as well. So I think CEO made the announcement, and then I just told him not long ago. So I don't know if he's coming or not, but he is expected to come. If not, we'll just rearrange him for another day. So how you guys doing? You guys filming in? As you guys know, I'm vacationing, so I'm in my vacation mode. I It's been a great feeling not to. Of course, you always working, but I'm on a delay mode in terms of working. So I'm just spending time with my children and family. It's always great to make memories with your children because they grow up, they leave their home, and you get to see them once in a while. So I can rely on the memory that I make with them in this beautiful part of the world. We're in the mountains right now. It's very beautiful. It's fall in the United States, where we have the leaves are changing colors. So it's a beautiful place to be in the fall. But besides that, I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
Well, I am okay, and at least we are following Liberia.
James, tell us what's going on in Liberia.
Oh, okay. Today we saw former former Minister of State for Presidential Affairs, Nathaniel McGill.
Mm-hmm.
Today, McGill, former Minister McGill, today he showed his strength, his political strength. You know, politicians believe that when they have gatherings and huge crowd turnout, that is an implication that they have support base. Today he had a very successful event where the people of Margibi petitioned him to contest the senatorial seat, and it was colorful. The number was huge, and I think he just announced his political presence in Margibi County. And that is a sound that politicians in Margibi should tighten their belt in making sure that the political battlefield is well prepared. He accepted, and he's a prospective candidate or an aspirant for the senatorial seat in Margibi County. So today, his strength that he showed, if he maintained, uh, uh, he will be frustrating another politician, or he will get frustrated by another politician in Margibi County in terms of the senatorial seat by Wakala for them.
Yeah, just one question before I share my thoughts, which I'm sure you're very familiar with it. I've shared it on the show before. Who is he? Who will he be running against?
There are several candidates who will come out, but I'm not living in Margibi. But one person who I can confirm is Senator James Tonola, who is the incumbent, the current senator of Margibi, is
Uh-huh.
expected to
What's his name again? Say that again, James.
James Tonola.
Hmm.
He's expected to contest again. So he has a very weight to meet, and Margibi is one of the places that you can't just overlook when it comes to their political involvement because they are close to the capital or
Yes.
they are almost into the capital. Margibi
Yes.
is within the capital. So what we go through in Monrovia or in Macerado is the same in Margibi. Margibi is not like Lofa County, Bapolu, or Maryland. They are within the capital. So they are
So
politically charged. And several other folks will come out to contest that seat. I'm sure there will be many, but so far I know of two: the current senator and my quote unquote McGill, Minister McGill, who has accepted his petition to contest.
okay, yeah. Yeah, I think your analysis about the voters description appears to be right, considering the proximity of Margibi County to Monserrate County.
Yeah,
Oftentimes we look at descriptors of
yeah,
voters, who live in Margibi County. We know Monserrate County, my voters, they tend to be kind of educated, more familiar, kind of urban like type people. It's a city kind of voter, and then a lot of people may have similar characteristics as what James is telling us because of the proximity of Margibi to Monserrate County. And so when you have voters who perhaps tend to be like urban like city, like their needs might be a little different from someone who's in Lofa County or who's in Grand Cape County, which is a whole nother terrain in terms of ethnicity, religion, and
mhm,
the role of women in Grand Cape County is completely different. Um, But that's interesting to see how things would play out. Um, I Hi,
Hi,
welcome,
how are
Doctor.
you?
Good, Doctor Peabody. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
Good. We were just having a conversation with Margibi that James informed the audience that McGill showed up there and he had a strong force of people following behind him. He made a colorful presence in Margibi County. Um, and I think ultimately, this is my thought on this, and I'll ask your thought later. Ultimately, the people of Liberia will make the decision about, whether they want my guilt to vote or not. But my personal view, which is just this is not the view of Spoon or anybody else, obviously, is that as a person, I would have wanted him to at least clear his name or show his partisans or his people who supporting his supporters that I have made these efforts to clear my name. I have allegation about corruption. Um, that have been alleged against me, and this is what I'm doing. This is who I am. I just for me, I just like to have my name clear when it comes to those kind of issues, and then I will move forward. Even make the effort because I know delisting someone can take a long time. It's not something that can be done today. But say I've contacted these lawyers. I've asked the president to take my matter to court, not just suspend me but take my matter to court because I want to clear my name. And I'm actually taking the Liberian government to court for suspending me because I want to clear my name. And I think that once he does all of those things, that is in good faith, that puts him at a place where there's not all of this noise behind him. But ultimately, like I said, this is my opinion, and I'm sure Minister McGill listens to this show. I'm sure he can hear my opinion, but these are my thoughts. And then, of course, I'm sure there are people in my Gibi Canada that have that share these thoughts who just want him to have a clear perspective. You have something hanging over you, and then you're gonna go hang into an election again. It's just not jiving correctly to me. But Peabody, I don't know what your thoughts. We got two guests coming in the studio. We'll be alerted when they come in, but let's just stay on this for a second.
Good to see you, Dr. Richardson, and good to see James and other guys coming in. Yesterday I think we may have touched on this issue. We had a supporter for Honorable McGill here on the show. The representative senator from Bond County,
Yeah, Mr.
Marvin Cole. He was here
Mhm.
yesterday. And then we'll also have the opportunity to play that tip that OKFM interviewed a representative from the U.S. Embassy. And what he said was that it's not a criminal conviction in Liberia. They're not going. Doesn't mean they're not going to tell anybody, Liberian, what to do or what to restrict or buy anybody. It's not a conviction. And then we talk about others who are there. Who are in the Senate, like the Prince Johnson factor, like Viney Sherman, who were sanctioned by that the Magnitsky Act, and they are still serving actively. In fact, Von Sherman is still the chairman, I think, on the judiciary. Why not? Nobody talked when the sanction came that they needed to resign to do things. There's not a law in life. For me, there's not a law that bar him from running. And as you said, Dr. Richardson, I think it's the decision of the Liberian people to make that decision. But for me, I mean, I will say that if there's not a law, the U.S. government made it very clear. And from what I heard him saying, there's really nothing much that will really to limit uh, Honorable McGill from running, except his own conscience. He think, except his own conscience. But on the book, there's not a lot of law, and it seemed that the Liberian people really accepted him today because I watched part of that video, and man, the crowd. So, I mean, but what I would have preferred if you do it to Paul, do it to John, and you still got Prince Johnson, other seven. So why not? I mean, there's nothing that barring him from running or doing things. So I mean, when it comes to election and who going to vote? The Liberian people going to make that decision. They're going to decide.
And you're very right about that, Dr. Peabody. I want to just say, when people ask the question about why didn't other people speak out when it came to Prince Johnson and when it came to Bonnie Sherman, my thoughts on that is whether someone spoke or not, when someone engaged in a way where there are allegations against you that states that there was wrongdoing, it doesn't change what I speak now or speak in the future. The allegation remains. And I think that sometimes in Liberia, we're very slow, which is not a bad thing to learn. Okay. Like, when Ebola was coming, a lot of people say Ebola coming. We didn't act until we actually saw some physical evidence that Ebola was in our country. The United States came and put allegation on Prince Johnson and Fanny Sherman. The only thing that happened, I believe, Prince Johnson resigned from on the Security Committee because of the allegations that was put on him. Okay, so we slow to act. Now they have actually added 3 more persons to the list. We are beginning to act a little bit on that. They say, "Oh, what does this mean? What does this mean?" It means that they told us that we can't transact businesses, especially in the United States. I heard the senator who was here yesterday mention how Senator Sherman's assets were frozen and all his actions in the United States are on a question versus someone like Gil, he said, did have zero property, which I don't know the facts about that, in the United States. So I think Liberian are getting to actually know what does it mean when we have sanctions on this individual. We actually don't know. We are just finding out. And one thing I know about Americans, I've lived in this country long enough and studied the politics to know they speak with 2 tongues. American men can be laughing with you, but they're definitely having a meeting where they finish discussing your firing. Okay? They will come to your office and laugh. I'm going to escort you to your office for you to pack your things now. We're just decided that we're not going to need you in this capacity anymore. They're not fussing with you. They'll be talking to you and telling you one thing. That's just how they are. That's actually when the rule of law, when things are institutionalized, that's what happens. It's not about what I laugh with you or not. It's about what's on the books. So I think we're getting to know what this sanction is, and we'll see how it pans out. The American men may say, "Oh, we just say that sanction, it only will apply when you come to America." All right. But it doesn't apply when your Liberian people decide to elect McGill. But then what happens when McGill has to go out of the country to represent Liberia's interest? What kind of what transaction is he going to make? Is he ever going to leave Liberia to represent the people of Margibi, or is he going to stay just within the African region? Are the people of Margibi, if he gets elected, are they going to be represented fairly? Because McGill will have limitation on his transactions that he can make, because he does have limitation based on the United States allegations against him that relates to his transaction. He does have that. So all of those things are things that I think about, and it's up again to the people in Margibi. It's up to them to think about that.
Dr. Richardson, you are fair. I know when it comes to American policy and say that, certain thing, I know the Americans say, "Hey, man, we can't work with this person on this." And that was one of the reasons we saw Prince Johnson resign from that committee on defense, because they were supporting the army, and I believe they may have given a threat and said, "Hey, if he's heading this, then I don't think we'll be able to work with you, especially when it comes to supporting your army and stuff like that." But our people have to decide on what they want, and who's going to do it for them. They always pick what they want, and that, like I would always say, Liberia is a democratic country, some other nation, and the law is funny when it comes to the law. They say, "You know what? There's nothing in the law that say this guy cannot run. This person cannot participate in election. I know it is true, but for a year, you had some people put on sanction for a whole year. Nobody spoke. Nobody said anything like that. You know. And now when it comes to the law, folks will say there's nothing. And I asked somebody. I asked Tewan Gungo. He was on the show before, and he said there was really no law that could bar them from running. You got Bill Twegber in Riverside, who's running as well, and may even win. So all will come down to the Liberian people. They will decide. And sometimes people think you supporting somebody when you say the Liberian people will decide. The last time I was asked a question here about what you think whether the president done an excellent job or not. That's the Liberian people. Those are the people who live there. Those are the people who vote. Those are the people who decide. If they feel that Honorable McGay is the right man for them, they can go and do what they need to do. I like to be as transparent as I can. It's the Liberian people's decision to decide, so they will decide. And if there's no law that ban him, unfortunately, there's nothing you can do. But I mean, I watched the video and I saw a huge crowd, very large crowd today. I mean, very big crowd. It seems that.
Can I just play? We already have the guests in the back. They're getting prepared. But can I just play 30 seconds of what happened today?
Well, before you do that, James, yes, I would love for you to do that. But I just wanted to add about the idea of when we say let the Liberian people decide. And I say that to Dr. Peabody. But when we have an electorate that have challenges with sometimes information as dissemination, or sometimes comprehending information, not because of their fault, because of the way how our country is at this point. Sometimes saying let the electorate decide, it's almost like saying let some of the electorate decide. The electorate who are interested, electorate who have information available and accessible to them, the electorate who can read and write. Okay, like for example, sometimes in other parts of the world, I think it's appropriate to say that because there's a ground rule like this is our information will be disseminated at a 6th grade level, at a 3rd grade level. Okay, but it's very challenging because some of our people. I'm imagining Margibi County, and I'm very familiar with Margibi County because Bon County is very close to Bon County. So before I spent some time living in. Grew up in BWI, was my first home. So that's well placed in Margibi. And so when there's certain parts of Margibi County where people don't even have availability to education, to information, okay, they rely on just radio or cell phone, like the old-fashioned cell phone. So when I say let the electorate decide, I say that with hesitation sometimes, because does the electorate have all the information that they need to make informed decisions? And that goes into the people who will see in this video that James Goodday are going to show us. What are they? First of all, are they Margibi inhabitants? Number one. Number two, are they really internalizing? Yes, Goodday laugh. I will ask these questions. Are they really internalizing what is happening? Do they understand the implication, the consequences of the sanction? Have they read? Because I had to read. I who have a doctorate degree, I had to read that sanction about 2 or 3 times just to make sure I understood the different players, the different factors, and what they meant. I also had to read the letter from from the ambassador 2 or 3 times. Not that I didn't get it the first time, but just to internalize it, to make sure I understood what it means. Now, that's me, who I think, very aware. I can imagine, my cousin who's deep down inside of Durera area, on the other side of Durera, which is in Margibi County to the extent, who relies on me to get somebody to take a phone to her to be able to talk to me. Okay, so those are the kind of things that I think about as a person. So I just wanted to add that caveat before we move on to the tape. But James, I don't know if you want to add anything, or Dr. Peabody, if you want to add anything before our guests come in.
I would say is, but you gotta live in a situation and experience it, whether it's good or bad. Is my condition of living fine? Am I getting what I need to have? We seen Liberian people continually make mistakes. They vote the same people over and over, even in the midst of the hardship, in the midst of the suffering. They still vote the same people over and over. So they're the one that's there. They're the one that's going through it. If I know that something is not working for me, I will try to take a change. And the only way that Liberian people can speak is through their vote. That's the only way they can speak. That's the only way they can remove somebody is through their vote. But we see this happen over and over. Even sometimes the Americans themselves wonder what is wrong with the Liberians. We see them the way get out there and do things. So people wonder, the Americans say, what is wrong with Liberians? I mean, how long will you? There's nobody going to make a decision for them. They live in a situation. You live in a situation. You have to get food to eat. You have to get electricity. You don't even have a job. I listened to Victor Hofstrom today on the show with Titi Cunning, and he talked about. He said, I couldn't even take a picture in my own country to take back to my job because everything. The people are suffering. The people are hungry. They're going through a lot. But do they see it? Can they open their eyes and see? Ain't nobody going to do it for you if you don't try and make that effort for yourself. Nobody going to do it for you.
Yeah, it's almost like, sorry, James, I know you want to play this tape, but it's almost like sometimes, like when someone is traumatized or abused, you sometimes you don't see it, Peabody. You don't see that there's a difference in terms of the way that you can live your life, and so that's some of the kind of analogy that I can make, what it reminds me of. So I don't want to blame our people. It's like, when someone been abusing, like it takes 7 times. The research in this country says it takes 7 times for an abusive woman to leave her home. And and most of the time, if your father was an abusive person, alcoholic, you tend to be attracted to that person. So because that's what when we do this kind of therapy. So it's almost like I don't want to. It's like, come on, is that what you know? Like you just know suffering. You don't know. You haven't seen 7 or 8 lane highway. You haven't seen the tree change in the fall. You have not seen. It's like I have my brother Orlando. I'll take to this here quick story before James turned over. When Orlando came, and my other brothers, I had left the country. I wasn't in the country for the war, so my brothers experienced the war. So when Orlando came, he would just put all the food together in one bowl. Orlando, I'm sorry, I'm talking our secret, our family business, but all the food in a bowl. In one bowl, what are that fufu or what are that rice or why you put one? And I'll be looking at him and say, but why the boy eating like this? I said, Orlando, why you eating like this? Then he would joke with me. He said, but sis, it going to the same place. But but then he said, you know what? He said, have you ever experienced hunger before, sis? Have you ever experienced hunger? And he was right. Well, I had come from, my brothers were in the refugee camp and I didn't experience the war. So he said, so when I see food, I want to just eat the first couple of weeks. He was just eat, So that's what he knew, So I can see, and he has, have you ever experienced hunger before? I don't know what it was like for what he experienced, he and my other brothers and my parents in the refugee camp versus me, So it tells the difference in when you experience something, it, versus you don't know what it feels like. So I don't want to blame the Liberian people per se, but I understand exactly what you're saying too.
All right. So I think we can do the video at the end of the show. Can we bring a guest in?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I took up the time. Good day. All right.
Yeah. Can I bring a guest in now?
Yes, please do that. Sorry, I took up the show.
No. You were making serious point. The discussion was getting a little hot. Yeah. Bring a guest in now. Okay. All right. As soon as I get the other guest set up, I will bring him
Okay, so we can go ahead and guest and welcome
Yeah,
our
you
guest.
can go ahead. As soon as he's set, I'll bring him in. I'm
Okay.
coming. Yekesi, you have to come on. Let me add the guy from the studio. Okay, he's okay.
Okay, good. All right, Spoon family, we would like to welcome Honorable Ba and also Ambassador Joseph Nkrumah to you today. We'd like to welcome all of you that are listening around the world. Honorable Ba and Ambassador Nkrumah, I'm here with Dr. Henry Peabody, who is one of our panelists, and also James Goodday, who is also here with us, and Yekesi, who is in the studio with you, assisting you. I want to just thank you for coming to do your work of ECOWAS in Liberia, and I'm sure we're going to have a great conversation about your contribution that you're making to the region, and most specifically Liberia. So thank you for joining us, and our audience are very enthusiastic and willing to hear why you visiting Liberia and what are you doing in Liberia. So I would just we're going to take turns asking questions. This is how the format of the show is, and I would like to just begin by just asking you to just introduce yourself, your role that you play in ECOWAS, how long you've been in Liberia, why you there, and then we can go from there. We can have the conversation from there. I'm Dr. Francine Chenna Richardson. I don't think I introduced myself as well. I'm a panelist here.
Good evening. Thank you very much for affording us this global platform to share with you some of the work that ECOWAS is doing in the sub-region. And let me say thank you to Liberians for welcoming me here in Liberia for the last 6 months. So I'm not very new. I think I'm fairly acclimatized now. I didn't really get a lot of what you said, so can you ask me what exactly you want me to be saying as intro?
So yes, Ambassador Nkrumah, you've been in Liberia, you said, for the past 6 months. Can you just tell us, are you able to hear me? Are you hearing me?
Unmute the mic, please. Hello. It's mute.
We're muted.
She's muted. Okay, we can hear you.
No, she's not muted. We hearing you.
Okay, I can hear you. I was actually asking you, can you just introduce yourself?
Yes, are you hearing me?
Yes.
Are you?
No.
Hello, are you hearing me, Doctor?
Yes, I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you.
Thank you very much. Well, Ambassador Nkrumah was asking, but I've just told her that you want to know why we're visiting Liberia, how long we've stayed here, and what we've achieved.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
So she will take it from there now.
Yes, thank you.
So thank you again, and welcome. Thank you for affording us the opportunity on this global platform that allows us to share the work of ECOWAS, what exactly the mission here in Liberia is doing, or what they came to do, because we are more or less rounding off our mission work. I'm Josephine Nkrumah. I'm the ambassador of ECOWAS to Liberia, and Honorable Majuba is the head of delegation of ECOWAS parliamentarians with some oversight functions here in Liberia, particularly in relation to the National Center for Coordinating of Early Response. This is one of the conflict prevention creatures of the ECOWAS that seeks to monitor whatever occurs in a member state and proffer some recommendations to government in order to minimize any escalation of conflict or prevent conflict in that member state. Honorable Chenoba is here, and probably he'll take it from here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. Thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to join this platform, and we appreciate and hope that the discussions will add value to the work we've done already since we came into Monrovia. Apparently, we've been around for almost the whole week, and during our stay, we have, like the ambassador said, our engagement here deals purely towards early warning signals. And early warnings, because ECOWAS is interested in early warnings. Initially, when it started in 2013, we had 4 zones, but now that has been decentralized to cover each and every country. In Liberia, we initially dealt with the NCCRN, those in charge of the early warning signs. People might want to ask, why now? Well, the NCCRN has been around for a while. They've been doing a good job, but we're getting closer to elections. And even though there are many things when it comes to early warnings, whether it deals with the environment, food security, health, these are human rights issues, and they are triggers. But when you get closer to elections, the tensions themselves make things visible, and the result and impact of an election could be far-reaching. We know that Liberia, even though people are referring to it as a fragile state, but knowing where Liberia has come from, I'm coming from Sierra Leone. We have a similar history. We believe and are confident to say that violence has no place in our society, because without peace, there will be no development. So that is why from the ECOWAS Parliament, we're here to engage key players in the executive, the judiciary, civil society, political parties, all the players on the ground. We've met with the police, we met with the NEC, the Electoral Commission, the referees, whom we are expecting to be neutral. We've encouraged all not to just be free, fair, and transparent, but for them to be seen to be free, fair, and transparent. The executive continues to give its commitment. They confirm that they came in on a ticket of peace, so they will continue to keep the peace. That the president is an ambassador of peace. He also assured us that he was an ambassador when in opposition. Now he is obligated to even double his ambassadorship, and he's committed to it. So basically, we've engaged with several people, the judiciary, we met with the Chief Justice and her team, we met with the Senate President, the Vice President of the country, who happens to chair the board of the NCCRN, the Early Warning Institution. Today, we met with political parties and the Electoral Commission. We've also interacted with the citizens of Liberia, though in Monrovia, but being the capital city, we believe that this is a melting point where people from all parts of Liberia eventually converge. We've had fruitful conversations, and everybody is geared towards keeping the peace. So we expect those in charge, those who control the driving wheels, whether it's in opposition or in government, civil society, or whoever is an opinion leader in your community, to continue preaching peace and encouraging all to be free and fair with their responsibilities. So that is why we're here.
Thank you. Honorable Kamara, I don't see a last name. Did you want an opportunity to chime in as well before we move on to asking some questions? Thank you, Honorable Ba.
Thank you. Honorable Kamara is from Guinea-Bissau. He speaks more of Portuguese. He's trying with his English. He's here because, he's here because we are ECOWAS. Those of us who came are from different countries, from Senegal, the Gambia, Benin, Nigeria, Ghana, him from Guinea-Bissau, I from Sierra Leone. So basically we are ECOWAS, and as ECOWAS we French, English, and Portuguese. He will come in. You will bear with his broken English, because he speaks so many languages compared to some of us, but he's doing well.
Thank you. Thank you so much for saying that. Please tell him that we welcome him here at Spoon. We are a very inclusive group who welcome all languages and all people, all gender. So thank you guys for being here.
Today, I want to start with Portuguese, but I think our chairman speak about my English, my broken English. I think my English is good. Let me start with Portuguese. I hope you understand. Because we have 3 languages in ECOWAS: English, French, and Portuguese. A criação da CDAO tinha como principal objetivo a integração econômica e monetária, adotando assim vários programas para esse efeito. Através do tratado revisto e de outros textos comunitários, em particular os do capítulo 4, com o protocolo relativo ao mecanismo de prevenção, gestão e resolução de conflitos e manutenção da paz e segurança na região. Decidiu-se então a criação de um centro de observação na sede da Comissão e outras zonas cobrindo um certo número de países. Now, English. ECOWAS Parliament sent us here to find out from the National Center for Coordinating warning and the response mechanism, part of our oversight responsibility. Since Liberia will be, I don't understand this, will be going for election in next year, it is imperative for ECOWAS Parliament to find out how prepared the various stakeholders are before next year election. We visit His Excellencies the President, the Vice President, who is also the President of the Senate. We also visit the Justice of the Supreme Court, the leader of Liberia National Police, the National Election, the National Election Commission, met leadership of some political parties, and the radio of ECOWAS, also the radio FM 99.5. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Kamara. We understood you. Thank you for sharing your Portuguese with us as well. I'll begin with the first question, and then we're going to go to Dr. Peabody. My question, and anyone can answer this, is how prepared are the stakeholders for next year's election, given we have this conversation about biometric being introduced into our electoral process?
So we've met with the various stakeholders, and I have been on the ground since April, and we've been working closely as international partners with the various stakeholders. Obviously, as we're all aware, there have been a few bottlenecks, but we're continuing our work in finding solutions to these bottlenecks in order for us to have free, transparent, credible, and peaceful elections. So in terms of preparedness, I think there's some work to be done. And as we head towards elections, it's important that the stakeholders act in consensus, that we have a lot of dialogue, and that we have a clear communication strategy with the people of Liberia in order to afford them an understanding and giving them the necessary information in order for us to have the confidence that we need in the integrity of the electoral process. So are we prepared as we sit here today? I don't think we're totally prepared. Are we working assiduously towards an effective electoral process and an electoral process that has integrity? I think we're all working towards that. And I urge you to use your platform as well to get the requisite information and pass on that kind of information to the people of Liberia, both here and abroad, that allows them to appreciate what the concerns are, bring constructive criticism, because that is what democracy is about, so that we can enter 2023 elections fully confident that we've done everything that is necessary, that assures us of the kind of elections that sustains our peace and allows us to build this country. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Peabody, would you like to ask your question?
Well, good to see everybody. It's really good to see everybody from ECOWAS. Firstly, my first question, I want to go to Ambassador Josephine because she's been in Liberia the longest. My question to you: you've been in Liberia for 6 months. What has been your observation? What's your observation when it comes to governance in our country?
Well, Liberia has had the history we know of a post-conflict nation, and certainly that informs a lot of the actions that people take. It informs the national conversations and dialogues that we have. I think the key thing is appreciating that in as much as we are a post-conflict country, we should be moving forward in the direction of peace and development. So we do talk the questions of peace all the time, and it seems to be in the forefront of everybody's mind in terms of guiding and informing the actions that people take here in Liberia. So I haven't been to any single event in Liberia where people haven't spoken about peace and the need for us to sustain and consolidate that peace, so that desire for peace as a nation is very much alive in Liberia. I also think that as Liberians, we need to have a better ownership of the processes that lead to entrenching democracy in Liberia. And that does not come easy. I fully understand that democracy is not necessarily an easy road, but once we are committed to the desire for peace, I am very confident that despite the challenges we have, once we have that focus at the forefront of our minds, we will attain the peace we need and the development we need. But what I'd like to add specifically is that governance and governing of people is a two-way street. The government has its part to play, and the citizens have their part to play. How responsible are we in terms of our civic responsibilities, in terms of our civic duties? I think we need to see a little more an awakening of that, so that Liberians fully appreciate that the journey to what they desire, if you read the Constitution, must be owned by them. And international partners come to complement what they do, but they are not there to take over what they do. So let Liberians own the process, and platforms like yours afford the conversations that go on in this space. And I'm hoping that these conversations allow people to begin to be alive to their own civic responsibilities and duties.
Let me ask Honorable Sherner. I don't know what I'm right with the name. Honorable Sherner. Let me ask you this question. You talk about early warning signs, early warning signals and stuff. And you've been in Liberia, so you have engaged different the legislature and other groups. What are the warning signs that you have seen, and when you engage them, what have they shared with you on this thing?
Well, basically, it's difficult to pinpoint one specific sign. They have to meet a specific threshold, and that threshold we've not seen. But by and large, communication is key amongst all the players. The messages that come out and the way the messages come out. Communication is very, very important. Whether it's the EMBs, the election management bodies, or political parties, or other actors within the state, civil societies and the like. The way we pass our messages, the kind of messages we do pass, are of relevance to whatever is going to be the eventual result. So basically, we've seen that everybody wants to keep around their own turf, and it doesn't work that way. The ambassador just talked about dialogue. So continuous engagement, continuous communication will address a lot of issues. One of the things we talked about today with the NEC was their relationship with the media. This is, I'm sure, a very wider platform. You have a role to play. There are people now who are voting, who are not around during the days of the war. We just heard about it. It's happening in my country as well. So we have to tell them the stories, not to scare them, but for them to know the danger behind the lack of peace. When there is no peace, no one wins. What we've seen so far, most people are interested in working together. But when the stakes are high, people compete, you don't know where they go. So those of us within Liberia who are opinion leaders or who are out, but also our voices are respected, must make sure that the messages we pass, whilst we call for fairness, transparency, and justice, we should on the side be talking about justice because they go side by side.
Thank you. Good day.
Yeah.
Question?
Okay. Let me direct the question to the head of delegation, Honorable Ba. Again, welcome to all of you. Welcome to Liberia. If it is your first time or how many times you've been here, welcome. This is our sweet land of liberty. You are coming to Liberia.
I love that. I love that. Liberty brought you here.
Yeah,
and the only way you get liberty is when you have peace and security.
Yeah, peace will make us to maintain liberty. All right, let's go to ECOWAS mission to Liberia. Liberia, like the ambassador said, we've been through a lot, and we are still a fragile state, both political, security-wise, or economic. We are still a fragile state. But we have a crucial election to go to. But of recent, we have been seeing ECOWAS in other African countries like Guinea, Mali, and all other countries that have been faced with this electoral violence. At the end of the day, we saw bloodshed, regime being overtaken by another party. Specifically, what is going to be that change that ECOWAS is going to start today before we even get into 2023 that will make all actors within the political arena and those who have no interest. You know, we have two groups of people. We have the politicians and the non-politicians. So how ECOWAS is going to engage these people to make them to discourage them from violence before or after election. What is going to be your specific mission to make Liberia stable during and after election?
Thank you very much. Firstly, may I start by saying the primary responsibility of making Liberia safe rests with the Liberians. That's the primary responsibility. But Liberia is part of ECOWAS, the broader family. Yeah. What we are doing today is a start of several engagements to come in the future. You talked about Guinea, Mali, Burkina Faso. As a result of those events, ECOWAS is every day changing its strategy. We're coming from the parliament of ECOWAS. We are a branch of the ECOWAS family itself. But as the parliament, we're providing leadership. And what we're doing now, it is not just to start engagement at this level, but to ensure that it is cascaded upwards at ministerial level, at commissioners level. And the ambassador is permanently stationed in Liberia. So she's on the job on the daily basis, 24 hours a day. She reports not just to Abuja, but also coordinates with other members of the diplomatic community within Liberia, information sharing, solutions to problems. Basically, it's better to prevent than to solve problems. And what ECOWAS is doing now is making sure we have been proactive rather than waiting before it's too late. Because what has happened in Guinea and Mali is not palatable, not just to their citizens, but to ECOWAS. When there is no peace in one state, it affects all other countries. So basically, we have started and we will continue.
Another question, James. Are you ready to?
Yeah, another question. Okay, thank you for that, and we are willing to see a better result. But let's look
But don't
at.
forget, as I said, as Liberians again, we have to provide leadership.
Okay.
We know our backyards more than anyone else. We know our neighbors. We know our friends. Let us share good messages. Let us get conversation. Let us don't allow ourselves to be agitated. The way we talk to each other will help in solving many problems.
Okay. All right. I overheard you emphasizing both on the politicians and the government. Let's talk about people who live beyond Maserati, the capital. How ECOWAS is going to engage these people. I'm not talking about you passing a message to the government or the opposition. I'm talking about your own direct involvement with the people. Are we going to have members of ECOWAS working with ordinary Liberian organizations to preach those peace messages that Liberians need to listen to in order to make the rightful decisions? Or it's just going to be roundtable discussion, all hands on decks? You call actors and talk to them, and then they get to their supporters. That's another method of solving it. But are you going to get out there as an institution working with ordinary Liberians, peace groups, and other folks to make sure that Liberians are getting direct information from the mother body? We're talking about the African body that is responsible for them to say, yes, these are international people. We're not listening to one politician.
Well, basically, ECOWAS, as I said earlier, has a lot of layers. We have those who deal with the civil society organizations. We have those that deal with women. We are parliamentarians. We have commissioners. They will come at a different layer as well. We've engaged stakeholders, political party leaders. We expect them to go down. But as we said earlier, Madam Ambassador also re-echoed that, the NCCRM is a creature of ECOWAS, even though it is based in Liberia. Slowly, they're rolling their operations out to each and every district. I think 19 or so, or 20 political districts. I don't have it off head now. They will be rolling out. And when they are on ground, they also have a responsibility to continue engaging players at the district level. So it's not just going to stop in Monrovia. I might not be going to, say, Bomi or Lofa or Ganta, but there are people who will be going on ground. And the closer we get to elections, the involvement of ECOWAS will also be scaled up, because there are going to be elections observers, long term and short term. Long term, those will be around for a couple of months before the elections, and short term for those who will be observing the elections themselves proper. But the engagement, that is why we're calling on the media to do their own part. It's a national duty. It's a call to duty. When we have information, let's pass them down, and let's make sure we pass credible information down. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much. If you're just joining us, you're watching.
Madam Ambassador wants to say something.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. I was just going to make an announcement.
I just wanted to add that one of the ways that ECOWAS reaches the people is through its representation office in the member state. And so obviously whatever ECOWAS does or intends to do, it runs it through the representation office. And the representation office has the responsibility of liaising and coordinating with stakeholders in Liberia through various platforms in order to further the objectives of ECOWAS. But just to reiterate what Honorable Barr said, the primary responsibility rests with Liberians. We come in to complement the efforts. And so the efforts may be shared with stakeholders at representative level. It is up to them to cascade the messages downwards to share what ECOWAS is doing, or what ECOWAS's objectives are that actually foster national peace and development.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. If you're just joining us, you're watching Spoon Talk. We have members of ECOWAS Parliament here today discussing election security in our country. They are also discussing the role of the media in our country, and we're just asking them questions about the state of Liberia as it relates to our election. So please chime in the comment section. We'll be looking at the comment section. I have a question if nobody else from the team wants to add on to any of the questions. Okay, I'm going to direct my question a little bit to biometrics, the conversation about biometrics that have been happening in our country. I'm sure you guys are aware of the issue relating to biometrics. I think there are a lot of benefits of having a biometric system. I'm using a laptop right now that responds to my thumb, in terms of it knows my fingerprint and it identifies me to open up important information. I believe that biometrics can prevent multiple voters. It also can clean up the voter registration rule, which we had a lot issue with the last time. But I also think that some critics believe that Liberians are not ready for biometrics at this moment. They believe that there has not been enough training in the process in terms of how to use the biometric system. They believe that the staff members that are supposed to train people to use the machines are not being well trained. And they're concerned about connectivity issues in our country in terms of the internet system. So I actually would like for you guys to just respond to that issue of biometrics. Have you seen it, how it works in other countries, and how prepared do you think our country is ready for biometrics? And as a side note, I also like to welcome Stanton Weatherspoon, the owner of the Spoon Network. He just joined us from his other responsibility, which is in Minnesota right now. So Stanton, I'd like to welcome you. I was just asking a question about biometric.
Thank you very much. And I want to say thanks to the Honorable Ambassador Josephine, Honorable Cameron, Honorable Crenon. Due to our delayed flight, we are here, and I'm sorry, but we were traveling to Minnesota and part of the team. But we are happy to be on to continue the conversation. Thanks a lot, Dr. Peabody, Dr. Richardson, and we can continue. We appreciate it.
Okay. Yes. I don't know. Did you guys hear my question? Was it clear for ECOWAS members? Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Sure.
Okay. Good.
Well, I think the beauty of a biometric voter registration system for our sub-region is that there are those countries that have taken the lead in this direction. And of course, as even just from the complement of our mission here, it tells you that we can learn. There's a lot of information sharing. There's a lot of experiences that we can learn from each other. There are countries like Ghana, Sierra Leone, who have started the biometric voter registration system. And of course, every process has some challenges, but we should do our very best to ensure that we minimize those challenges in order that we don't risk the integrity of the electoral process. What I do know here in Liberia is that with the BVR, what NEC has decided is to use the BVR for the deduplication of the register to ensure that the register is clean and that the register is fit for purpose as an integrity mechanism for the electoral process. Having said that, it's also very important to state, because I think some people are not understanding that the biometric voter registration as Liberia has now, or as it intends to use now, is limited to registration. So come election day, you would not have biometric voting. It will be a manual voting process. But every system starts from somewhere. And so Liberia has taken that bold step of going in this direction, and which is actually in tandem with what the whole sub-region is doing. There are very few countries that are still using the manual registers now, and I believe strongly that it's in the right direction. Having said that, your concerns are real. We have time constraints, and it means that stakeholders must be talking to each other. They must be coming to common positions with a common purpose, the common purpose being that we want a clean register and we want to see credible elections through that clean register. And that is where we are at now, engaging stakeholders in understanding that the talking must begin now. The communicating with each other is key, because if we don't do that, then the time constraints become more complex, the training becomes more of a challenge, and we will not be able to achieve that. I believe having put money down or invested money into this system, we must all be on board to ensure that it succeeds. So your concerns are real, but I also believe that dialogue and consensus building is key to finding a solution, or to mitigating the risks that have raised the concerns you talk about.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ambassador De Crumman. I think probably you guys have answered this question. PPCC and that of the National Election Commission on this biometric. PPCC, an entity of the government, the argument, NCAM, PAM, they are not up to performance when you talk about the biometrics. They have failed with the timing. They have failed to produce results within the time frame. How important or how concerning do you think that is? That after election, and we have these irregularities, now PPCC is complaining, but yet the National Election Commission, they are very adamant. The commissioner chief saying she want ECOWAS to produce and carry on the biometrics. I know this has nothing to do with ECOWAS because this is Liberia internal affairs, but this would drag your feet likewise after the election when there is a problem. Can you help explain to Liberians the thoughts of ECOWAS, their parliament?
Well, basically, it's difficult to explain the thoughts of ECOWAS. Some of these things, what we come in to do is to ensure that the playing field is level, but not to interfere into the nitty-gritties of internal state operations. But the key point here is we have a responsibility to oversee operations pursuant to the protocols on good governance and democracy at the ECOWAS. The ambassador just talked about the advantages of the biometric, but she did not shy away to talk about the challenges: communications, dialogue, timing. And people need to know exactly what the biometric is going to be about. Is the time right? Are the people prepared? Because as politicians, we should always remember that those who participate in elections most times are not politicians. Us, the politicians, are few. And elections are conducted for the citizens of the country. They do the voting. They must be comfortable and convenient with the process. If the process is confusing or challenging, then those in charge are bound to listen. But if the dialogue does not continue and people are not educated about the system, they get them confused, because if the wrong information is filtering down, then you get the people who are to benefit from the system more confused. If you educate them well, they might say, bring it now or leave it later. The voting is not going to be done by biometric from what we've learned. The registration is what they want to do biometric to minimize double registration. Even today, whilst we were at the NEC, there was a protest today by one of the parties going around the same line. So basically, people are airing out their views or opinions, but the NEC is also obliged to sit with actors, listen to them, and then get down to the people who are going to be the eventual beneficiaries of the system.
So let me stick with you one just few seconds, Honorable Chinomaju Bai, Head of Delegation, Chair Committee on Legal Affairs and Human Rights. Let me stay with you just a minute, guys. It is important because have you spoken to David Eto Brown Lasana, the chair for the commissioner? I believe you have. If you have spoken to her, have she convinced you enough that this ECOM company will do a better job, or they are up to par in voter registration through the process? There will be no irregularities. Can you talk to Liberians? The hope she have given you that we shouldn't get into the legal aspect and create another problem again for Liberians.
Well, we did not go into procurement details, who the company is, how the contract was awarded, because that is internal. We did not deal with procurement, but what we did was to let NEC know that whatever processes they are going to follow, if at all it materializes, must follow the right procedures. They should not circumvent anything which will shortcut the process they are supposed to follow. But we have not gone into their little details on procurement or otherwise. No, we did not.
Do you have faith, Honorable Bat, before we go to Honorable Cameron, Kamara and Ambassador Nkrumah? Do you have faith in the system that Liberia will be served well, having seen everything, having heard everything, having spoken to folks that are responsible for a better election comes October 10, 2023?
Basically,
do you believe in the system as it stands right now? Can you tell Liberians that we are walking a very decent path to a free, fair, transparent election with this whole new biometric system that we have not been introduced to yet?
Well, basically, we are comforted with the discussions we've had so far, but we've encouraged the NEC to make sure that they are independent and they conduct elections that are free, fair, and transparent. We even went further to tell them that however independent and neutral they are, they must take a step further in ensuring that the perception which will be coming from the public make sure that they are seen to be neutral, free, fair, and independent. It's not just about talking about it, not just discussing the topic, but the politics perception plays a key role. The people must be comfortable. They must trust in the process. And without communicating and dialoguing with the people who are actively involved in the cycle will be a challenge. We've encouraged them to do that, and we believe that that is the route they should follow, and they have an obligation to follow that route.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. Thanks.
Yeah. I want to follow up with another question before we go on to Dr. Peabody. And thank you for your answer, Ambassador Josephine Nkrumah, about the challenges that we face with biometric, the biometric metric situation. If you were to observe the usage of biometric in the country, and you felt as we got closer to elections that Liberians were not ready, one, because they were not fully educated in terms of how to use the system for voters registration, two, because of our connectivity issues. Again, we don't have electricity barely throughout the country, and we don't have internet throughout the country. Would you recommend to the stakeholders that maybe now is not the time? I mean, I actually like the process. Don't get me wrong. I like it. I'm using it. Like I said, I have a computer that I just put my thumb on it and it starts up for me and have my information accessible to me. Would you then recommend to the stakeholders in Liberia, like, hold up, maybe we need to educate our people, maybe we need more electricity, maybe we need more internet services? Is that something that you would do?
Well, I think that for our part of the world, these challenges that you talk about is not uncommon. And having said that, whenever you have the vendors, projecting what they have to offer a country, all of these things are taken into consideration. And because these things are taken into consideration, I'm fairly confident that having taken that decision to go into BVR, Liberia was fully aware of some of these challenges, and whatever system that Liberia ultimately chooses or opts for would have the necessary resolutions to these concerns that you raise. So yes, these are real in Africa, but I also know that you have systems that allow us to overcome these challenges, because if we continue to speak about these challenges, then it means that Africa will never go the BVR way. But there are countries with similar challenges that have had, successful BVR going on, and it was taking with all of these considerations. So I believe that these considerations have been carefully, taken into account in coming up with this final decision to opt for a BVR.
Okay. I would like to expand my question there in terms of how you related Liberia to other countries in Africa. I'm not quite saying that we have the same challenges, but your point is well taken in terms of we need to move forward in the digital world as a country. But I think our challenges are real. They're very, very strong in Liberia compared to other African countries when it comes to electricity and connectivity issues. But I will hang on for now and have Dr. Henry Peabody ask his question. Mr. Peabody, Dr. Peabody.
Thank you, Honorable Sherner. You talk about something that you haven't seen since you've been in Liberia. What are those things, and what do you plan to recommend? I know you probably won't be at liberty to say, but what are some things that you think should be in place, or the government need to put in place, that since you've been in Liberia, you haven't seen that yet, especially the threshold and stuff?
That question is too
too loaded.
I don't want to use the word vague, because it is not vague. It's a deliberate question.
Okay.
But I might not have seen many things.
Okay.
But I've also seen many things. Okay. And the things I have seen will help me address those that I've not seen moving forward, because we'll be coming again. Thank you.
So do you guys report back, my ambassador? You've been in Liberia 6 months. Do you guys report on some of those things that you think you have observed that may be like a warning sign? Do you report those things to Honorable Sherner or something like that, or the ECOWAS body or something?
Well, we do a lot of consultations with key stakeholders, and oftentimes the things that you are concerned about, you raise them, and when you're given the adequate responses, you share that with the headquarters.
All right.
Okay.
I also want to assure you, Dr. Peabody, that at the end of our mission here this week, when we go back to Abuja by mid to the end of November, there are many things we'll have to be reporting on to the plenary, have discussions, and then advise what the next steps are going to be. But I want to assure you that we are with Liberia on the road, monitoring each and every step through the ambassador here. And our colleagues at the ECOWAS Parliament, they're coming from different political parties. They're in Liberia. They do their country reports. They'll be talking about elections. They will talk about the census, the biometric, whether there are challenges, what they think are the solutions. Then we'll discuss them more in details. But I want to assure you that we've learned a lot. We'll be taking along a lot, and we'll be reporting accordingly to the appropriate authorities.
Before CEO comment, Kamara, what would be his take on
that? Yeah, I was sending my question to Honorable Kamara. So let's just do 2 for 1, because we I believe you guys have discussed the region, correct? Dr. Richardson?
Repeat the question, please.
No,
We
not
want
quite.
Okay.
Not quite.
slowly asking the question.
Yes. Honorable Kamar, it's good to have you. And Guinea-Bissau, member of the ECOWAS Parliament, we want to say thank you for being in the Spoon Studio. My question, let's look at West Africa, the region. Let's just put into place, I mean, how secure is
Yes,
our
sir.
region? How secure is our region with everything that is happening? Guinea.
Secure our region,
Security.
security in our region in
Uh,
West
Oh, I'm
in
Africa.
the,
sorry.
No, it's
yeah,
okay. He's
it's
had you now.
okay. Now I
Oh,
understand.
it's translation,
I
Portuguese to
think
English.
Okay, you want me to
Mr.
speak French?
Mr.
Portuguese.
Stanton,
Yes, sir.
you are a citizen of this region. I understand this region, and you come here today to make a question because you know the issues of this region. I want to see you. Uh, the chair speak about Burkina, about Mali, about Guinea. You forget my country. My country also have the same problem, but in the small
Scale.
yeah. So in this case, I think this is not Liberia like this. Liberia is not like these regions because Liberia depend only its population, government, and the the Senate, the Parliament, and its president. The president is ambassador of peace. You, in this moment, we are speaking about the prevention. Prevention is not the problem. I am thinking about the barometer. Barometer. The barometer is one way in the West Africa to bring more problem. It's my opinion. Because we have a population who 100% don't go to the school. So you bring the machine. You must learn every day, every month. You go until the election, you don't finish teach the pupils. So what I think about our region, I think we must improve first of all justice, peace, security, and it's finished. These four things I say matter on this region. I don't know if I answer your question, Mr. Stanton, but believe me, today I do very, very, very.
We heard you. We heard you. We heard about
Another
you
question.
speaking. I heard you speak about the importance of justice, security, and peace in the
Yeah.
region. And
Yes, you
yeah.
did. You did answer the question on Honorable Kamara. Let me just ask, because you are answering my question, so I will give you my second question.
Okay.
What do you say as a member of the parliament when someone addresses you or Honorable Bar or our mother, sister, ambassador, Josephine Nkrumah, and said ECOWAS is just another tooth-like bulldogs? What do you say? ECOWAS just play the game and they just don't. For example, Malay situation, ECOWAS cry, complain, nothing happened. Guinea. Today we saw the Guinea president, the president that overthrew, he visited Sierra Leone, where Honorable Bai from. He had a state visit. We are seeing this situation. What do you say when a school board, a school guide, or somebody from the Western world say, but ECOWAS is just a joke? I want you to address that with the Liberian folks tonight, please. What do you say? It can be any one of you, please.
You know, the coup stopped the democracy. But I think you understand me when I say Guinea and Burkina and Mali, we are in the same region. Now, the situation in Guinea and Mali and Burkina is not going like we wish it to be. So, if you say, now Guinea don't want democracy, nobody go there. You remember, I know you see every day the television, and you know all notice go in the television. You see maybe the past days our speaker was in the speaker of parliament being in Guinea. So when the president go to the speaker go to the Guinea, it's to start to start the dialogue, to finish maybe with the military in the government. Isn't it? So this, I think you can also think the same thing or no. Today, the military president, go to Sierra Leone.
Yep.
Go to Sierra Leone. This is good, Mr. Stanton, because every day we speak with these people, changing the ideas. Maybe they abandon what they think do 2, 3 years, 4 years in the. But I think it's good to make this cooperation between Guinea and Sierra Leone, between Sierra Leone and Burkina, between Guinea-Bissau and Mali. All this country, we cannot say today they are the people doing the coup. We must continue to speak with them. They are our brother. We must understand between us, I think.
Thank you very much. Yes, Honorable Ba. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, thank you very much. I don't remember the exact expression you used about whether ECOWAS is a toothless bulldog or a joke or something. I don't remember the exact words. But basically, be that as it may, the statement as against ECOWAS, when you go beyond ECOWAS, the same statement will follow for the AU, the UN, or other multinational or international groups, from the UN downwards. The reason here being that, one, the global economy is changing slowly. The resources that were available to ECOWAS before, when there were problems in Sierra Leone, where I came from, and in Liberia, to assist in restoring democracy, or the resources that were available when the elections in the Gambia involving Yahya Jammeh happened, ECOWAS stepped in to ensure that the democratically elected president was installed. The resources are not as available as they were. And it's very expensive to move a military. Very expensive. But that is not saying ECOWAS is shying away from its responsibility. But so the point I want to make is ECOWAS is trying to transform itself from waiting for things to happen like it happened in Guinea or in Mali to intervene, by preventing them before they do. One, they save resources. But secondly, the continued peace we will enjoy will also cater for development. So yes, ECOWAS is challenged, but a lot of progress is also being made by ECOWAS.
So if I may add to what Honorable Bar just said, there are challenges, and ECOWAS is trying to find our own homegrown solutions to our African challenges. This is not going to happen in a day or overnight, but we must also appreciate that this is a regional body comprising sovereign states. And as sovereign states, it is difficult to impose on the sovereignty of any state. You'd see that the countries that have had coup interventions, for instance, some of them have been sanctioned by ECOWAS. And sanctions is another means of bringing a country back within the fold of our own agreed constitutional governance. We also must understand that as a regional body with all of these member states, continuing dialogue is essential to finding solutions to these problems. So as we have already sanctioned states, it hasn't ended there. ECOWAS has been actively involved in the process of reverting to constitutional rule. Day in, day out, we've had mediators that go into these countries to find a solution, timelines, and a reasonable means of ending this, and beyond the fact of ending military rule, but more importantly, tackling the problems from the roots. And that's why we have the good governance framework. This good governance framework translates into many domestic strategies, many domestic action plans, and these action plans are supposed to guide us in terms of conflict prevention. And we are working, it brings us back to this very issue that we're speaking about, the objective why the ECOWAS mission is here, the NCCRM. The NCCRM as an early warning mechanism that allows member states to understand what is going on, what are the potential conflict triggers, and how we can quickly nip it in the bud. So I believe strongly that ECOWAS has positioned itself to do that conflict prevention. It's not easy. We know the global downturn economically, and that has affected ECOWAS as a regional body as well. But we must not lose faith in the role of ECOWAS. It is voices like yours that add value to the work of ECOWAS. And I always say the effectiveness of ECOWAS was really tested with the Liberian crisis. And that is what has assured Liberia and ECOWAS that strong bond that we share. And that attests to the role of ECOWAS. And going forward, I am very confident that these interventions, these oversight missions, these frameworks that ECOWAS develops in its various texts, when adopted within member states, will find some real benefits for democracy to thrive in our sub-region.
My last question, and Dr. Richardson, then you can take it away. I want to appreciate Ambassador Nkrumah, Honorable Ba, and Honorable Kamara. Let me stick with the ECOWAS and the region a little bit, because it is important. Due to what is happening in the region, all the coup d'etat, Liberia is a fragile state right now, 14 years of civil conflict. You are right, Ambassador Nkrumah. Thank God for ECOWAS at the time that tried and they brought peace. But folks listening to you guys right now, coup took place in Guinea-Bissau. ECOWAS cried, no, we will not accept this. Guinea, Mali, and the rest of the region is on the heel, is so tense. What will be the next coup? Are you guys sensing something? Can you speak to Liberians? Country that have never experienced coup for the past 10, 20 years, 2, 3 decades. You think this thing going to spill over? Because knowing very well if a coup take place in the country, ECOWAS just sit back and just negotiate and just put Band-Aid on the wound, and those generals will be in power till they are satisfied. What trick or coup? Now, how prepared is ECOWAS to prevent the next coup?
The line keeps breaking. The line keeps
Did,
breaking.
did you yell me?
The line keeps Your line
was
keeps
breaking
breaking,
up.
so if you
I'm
can.
yes, you're right because I'm in the conference centers over here. Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yes,
better.
but
So I'm asking, with everything that is happening, coup d'etat in all this country, what trigger coup to you? How can you tell Liberians the trigger to these things, the next coup, and how prepared is ECOWAS to prevent the next coup in a peaceful country? What are you guys saying? What can you tell Liberians tonight to give us some hope, some courage that if we do X, Y, and Z, maybe the next country will not see coup? Can you help us from the ECOWAS standpoint?
I will try, but then,
Mm.
but basically, there are parameters we all need to keep to. When we talk about democracy, it's not just about governance, it's the way we govern. People talk about corruption, but corruption is still a challenge in West Africa and perhaps in Africa. And the people are not dumb. As politicians, we have to be honest with the people we deal with. If you come to governance on a particular platform, saying, I'm going to fight corruption, I'm going to support this, I'm going to promote that, and when you come into governance, you do the opposite, the people will not support you, they will not tolerate that. But that should not in itself be a recipe for coup, no way. That's why we have elections. We should definitely not support anything that has to do with a coup. It's better to go under certain hardship for a year or two and then change people through the ballot box than having coup d'etats. Because wherever you have a coup d'etat, the country will definitely retrogress. The ambassador talked about sanctions, but apart from sanctions, you will not get investors. The private sector will not thrive. And the ordinary people who are not directly active in politics will be the ones who will suffer. And it is them that most times coup plotters will say, we are here to save these people, but they will end up suffering. So it is better to allow the system to work. When we change government through the ballot box, like it happened in some parts of the world I don't want to mention, people sit up. Most times when you come into governance, you want another term. That is one. So corruption is something we should not tolerate within our societies. Respect for the rule of law, people changing constitutions or laws to suit their own convenience when they come into power, to keep them in offices, we should not support. The rules are clear. The rules that brings you into office, you must respect them and practice them. You don't change the rules in the middle of the game because you want to protect yourself. So if we manage and minimize corruption in our region, respect the rule of law, definitely there will be peace and the chance for development will always be available, and coup d'etats will be a thing of the past.
Thank you, Honorable Bai.
Just to add as well, and I would refer Liberians to the Liberian Constitution. And the preamble is very specific in the power of Liberian citizens. It is the Liberian citizens that have the power to to vote governments in or to vote governments out. And when we are alive to that civic responsibility of voting, it means that as citizens, Liberians must also be very discerning, they must be informed, and they must listen to the communication that goes on. That allows us to make informed choices on who we vote in and who we vote out. So it is not because a politician comes on a platform and says, I will give you the world. You must question how he or she intends to give you that world. I think it's about time that we also listened to the voice of the youth. Liberia in particular has over 60% of its population as under 30. And that is a potent group that you have. How do you turn that potency into constructive constructive and accelerated development for Liberians. We must give a voice to our youth. The youth should sit at the table just as we are having the women sit at the table. And when we have when we listen to the youth and we allow them to contribute, participate in the democratic governance of this country, I don't think we would need to go to that extent of coup d'etats. Coup d'etats have not served any nation well. Look all around us. The rights that we have that are guaranteed under our constitution, coup d'etats come, and those rights are taken away from us. And so at the end of the day, we are left off with nothing. And so I don't believe that coup d'etats are an answer or an alternative to whatever the situation is.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a great answer. Thank you very much. That's what Richard said. I appreciate it. Yeah, go ahead, man.
Yeah, thank you. I have a question, and anyone can answer. My question is, recent laws in Liberia allowed for Liberians who are outside of Liberia to participate in the election process. I'd like to know your views on Liberians outside of the United States participating in the process. And did you get an opportunity to speak to stakeholders about this allowing Liberians to participate in the election process?
You understand? Nico?
No.
I think the dual citizenship law is a great law. It allows Liberians to exercise their rights as citizens by allowing them to participate in who they determine their leaders. And in that regard, the law that is in place now would encourage more Liberians perhaps to come home, perhaps to be a part of the process and to contribute. It takes away that sense or perception of marginalization just because somebody belongs or has another citizenship. So dual citizenship laws that have been introduced in the statutes of Liberia, to my mind, are in the right direction. It allows for inclusivity, which is a key ingredient of democracy, and I do believe it's the right direction.
Yeah, I think I join her in that, and it's also very, very commendable. Not to give too many examples, but we had our brothers and sisters who left us not on their own volition. Because of the war, a lot of people went away, but their hearts are still home. Mm-hmm. How can you say because somebody has acquired another passport as a refugee or something, or been born there by their parents who are citizens of Liberia or Sierra Leone or any ECOWAS country, should not have a right to come back to where their heart is, except they come as strangers. If you treat them as strangers, they will also treat you as strangers. They have a role to play. They have values to add. And your heart is always where it's supposed to be. Home is home. That's what we say. So the law is progressive, and we want to commend the government and Parliament. Well, Parliament from the Senate and House of Reps for coming together in ensuring that it's a progressive legislation. These are, there might be other exceptions, but the right to citizenship, which you are entitled to. We've had dual nationality being part of our law since 2006, and it has worked. We believe it will also work for Liberians. And those countries in West Africa that don't have it, we travel to the States, they give birth to children on our behalf, and they become citizens automatic. You want to deprive them? They are not born there on their own volition. We decided as parents to take them there, and we are citizens of Liberia or of Sierra Leone. Then you want to deprive that child? So it's very good and progressive, and for that we want to commend the players who have gone through this exercise in ensuring that people get rights to their nationalities.
If we can hear from Honorable Kamara, that would be fine, but we want to say a great conversation. We do not want to keep you guys too long, but we want to take questions from our followers, if you will allow, because some of the questions are meaningful. Let me pose this first question, Ambassador Nkrumah. When you spoke about the youth, one of our followers, Leo, declared from Canada, he's concerned. So how come all the ECOWAS countries are faced with extraordinary huge rates of youth employment with very limited participation of young people in governance? You spoke about 60% youth. Can you help speak to him, please?
Well, I think it's a complex situation. We have an education system that in some countries has said is not fit for purpose. You have industry that claims that the people that are churned out of our schools, tertiary and secondary education, do not have the requisite skills that fit into industry that allows them to, have the kinds of skill sets for as employable persons. We we are looking Africa is looking at new ways of educating the African that allows the African to be employable and that allows the African to contribute positively to his or her nation. I think another issue has been how we build entrepreneurship. Not all the industry or all the industries cannot absorb everybody. How do we look at skill set that allows the youth to be entrepreneurial, to be self-employed, to begin industry or to begin small scale businesses that also employ other people? These for me are some of the issues that we must, or some of the ways that we should address the youth unemployment in the sub-region.
I beg you, Dr. Peabody, before you come, let's just take this next one for either Honorable Cameroon or Honorable Ba. It's very important. A few years back, former First Lady Nessie Doe, a year or so back, former Supreme Court Justice Kabina Jennings, ECOWAS awarded them some judgment in their favor about money payment. Up to now, between them and the government of Liberia, it's a quagmire. So our follower is asking one of you, if you can, please. ECOWAS cannot back their rulings in the court decision. Nesido, Associate Justice Kabina Janet, but yet and still ECOWAS trying their hardest best to enforce. How can you speak? Can you speak to Liberians tonight? What will happen? What are some of the remedies in place if Liberian government fail to pay their judgment? When you talk about Nessie Doe, former First Lady, and Kabina Jani, up to now they have not received a dime. Honorable Bai, can you talk to us, please?
Well, yes. Basically, you know for a fact that every institution or organization is governed by laws. The protocol that established the ECOWAS Court as against state parties has its own limitation. And that is one thing which the court is working on together with the commission to ensure that they elevate the authority of the court to the point wherein whatever decision they make will be enforceable. And if state parties fail to, then there will be penalties. But for now, yes, they expect all state parties to respect their decisions and execute, but the enforcement authority is limited. So the protocol is being looked at and then eventually reviewed for it to go back to the authority of heads of state. I'm talking about ECOWAS now. You also follow similar bodies in the world. The ICC, for instance. Some countries are immune from the ICC. And some state parties also are limited with the way judgments have been enforced. So it's all tied down to the protocol itself. But slowly, ECOWAS is graduating to something else. And the court is going to be empowered so as to make sure that whatever decisions they hand down is respected by state parties. But until we reach that stage, we're still doing with what we have.
Dr. Peabody, you want to take us home, except you have more
Yeah, let me just firstly again thank you guys for really coming on a show today and representing. My final question here is we talk about Guinea. We saw what happened in Guinea. What is ECOWAS doing? I like you guys coming visiting countries that have to do for the warning signs and warning signals, because I believe if you have a guy in Guinea who was not going to run for a terror run, there probably wouldn't have been a coup in Guinea. We saw Ivory Coast. You have a president there who ran for the third time and won and still in place when his term was 2 years, but he tried to change the constitution. What is ECOWAS doing to avoid these kind of embarrassment, as I call it?
Take it.
Yeah.
It's talking about third term in office.
Are you talking about third time in office?
Yeah, I'm talking about what happened in Guinea. If the president at the time, Alpha Conde Aho, had not changed the constitution to run for a third term, it wouldn't have been a military coup. But we saw it in Ivory Coast, where Ouattara went for the third term. I see this as an embarrassment. What is ECOWAS doing to avoid this kind of embarrassment for other countries, for leaders who want to overstay their time?
Thank you very much, Doc. Again, like we discussed a minute ago on the issue of the court, fortunately, the chair of the Committee on Peace and Security that also deals with governance at the ECOWAS Parliament is a Liberian in the person of Senator Snow. I think during our last session in June, May-June, the way these protocols were carved by heads of state, some of them still have challenges. Some of us have been very, very vocal. Forget about Guinea, even in Mali. The Mali issue had nothing to do with a second term. But some of us believe that the way the then president was managing the affairs of the state was not in line with what ECOWAS is expecting. But the protocols are limited. We have tried times without number to revisit the protocol in ensuring that the two-term mandate is not just embedded in country constitutions, but it becomes a policy within the ECOWAS protocol. It becomes law, sorry. But as I speak to you, that protocol is yet to come into fruition. I will not name names, but we are having challenges with some countries who are saying, oh, allow us to run our domestic democracy the way we want. But for the English-speaking countries, by and large, the two-term mandate has been respected so far. And we hope that others who are not respecting it will follow suit. But as I speak to you now, that protocol, which will make it mandatory at the level of ECOWAS, has still not been signed. When they attempted to change the constitution in Guinea, some of us shouted, but our voices were not as loud as we expected them to be, because there are different layers within ECOWAS itself. But look at the results. None of us are happy. And when Guinea is in turmoil, we're in Liberia now, Sierra Leone, Liberia, Mali, Guinea-Bissau, all those who are neighbors of Guinea are not happy because the security is not as safe as they would want it to be. Whatever happens in Sierra Leone affects Liberia and vice versa. So we're looking forward to a situation wherein states will respect their constitutions, and as I said earlier, they will not change the rules in the middle of the game. You have a constitution, two-term mandate, you're president, don't change the rules. Your president told us, I am a man of peace, I am an ambassador of peace. I was ambassador of peace whilst I was in opposition. Now I am compelled to continue that. And that is why I will continue doing what will bring peace to Liberia. So we hope all hands will be on deck. There are going to be competitions. There are going to be competitors. But focus on dialogue and don't allow people to abuse the rule of law. Support those who want to respect the Constitution. The law is the law.
The law is the law. Let me bring the very important last question. Then Dr. Richardson, you can take it away. But I like you said The law is the law. Maybe you heard that from somebody in our body politics. They always said the law is the law. So we're gonna let that slide off. But very important question from this follower. What is the status of one currency echo for West Africa?
Madam Ambassador, you want to talk about it? Because this is also one of the challenges we're talking about. You see, the Francophone, Anglophone is helping but not doing too well. And for the English-speaking countries again, Madam Ambassador, the bigger countries like they did in Europe, where France and Germany backed the euro, the bigger countries in West Africa are still slowing down. And for us to meet the comprehensive convergence criteria to introduce the ECO has been a challenge. So here in, here out, they keep extending. It was supposed to have been introduced in 2020. They pushed it now to 2027 or 2028. But the convergence criteria is a challenge. Somebody has to provide leadership. We can't shy away from that. The euro could not have materialized had France and Germany shied away. So there are countries again in West Africa who must take the bull by the horn. And it's only when we have the ECO, eventually the CFA will also join the ECO. But there is politics in everything, and the corporate politics is even bigger than governance politics. Madam Ambassador, you are representing the president of the commission. Tell us something on the ECO.
Well, Honorable Ba has spoken as it is. I mean, you have 15 member states that are all sovereign, and giving up one currency for another has become a challenge. But I think what we need to do as ECOWAS is to continue to, pursue this vision, because it is in line with our primary vision as a sub-region, to have both economic and monetary integration. So we cannot abandon that just because you don't have everybody on board. It may take a while, but the important thing is to persist and to continue to talk with member states for us to find reason. Today we have AFTA, and who knows, if one region starts this, hopefully ECOWAS should take the lead, because we've been talking about this forever. And maybe in some time to come, you would have one currency even within the whole of Africa. But we must continue talking about it. And it should not be just at the level of the organizations, the sub-regional organizations, but the citizens must also be aware of it. And these platforms where you bring in questions like this allow people to understand better the issues that are at stake, and also begin to have that conversation cascaded downwards, and our leaders would find reason and perhaps be convinced that the ECO must really be the currency of the sub-region.
All right, Dr. Richardson, beautiful show, 6 p.m., 5 p.m., 5:08 in Minnesota, 6 p.m., 6:08 in New Jersey, and I think it's 10:08 in Liberia. Wonderful program. Let's take a tease a little bit on our person that represents us on the parliament, Senator Edwin Mervyn Snow. Be honest with us, guys. How is the working relationship with Senator Snow? Is he
Ambassador Fisher expressing
is
it,
he
just give it
flexible?
your way. Ambassador, your Fisher expression, you just tell us a lot.
Honorable Bad, Ambassador Josephine, Nkrumah, Honorable Kamara. How is the working relationship with Honorable Snow? Is he representing Liberia well?
Very, very professional.
Wow.
I think Senator Snow heads the Liberian parliamentarians here, and he has shown true leadership in that direction. He's been of immense support to the representation office in Liberia, and for the mission that came here, he has been of immense support to the mission, ensuring that all the key stakeholders we need to meet, we have met with them, and the necessary conversations that we need to have, we have had. That has enriched the mission's work here. And we're going away fully confident that Honorable Snow is very committed to his role in ECOWAS. And for that reason, we have an excellent working relationship with him.
And you, Honorable Kamar, how's the working relationship, sir?
Honorable Senator Snow, let me speak about Senator Snow. You know, Senator Snow no support only Liberia. He support all country of sub-region of ECOWAS.
The mic. The mic.
Right. So I want to say you that the man is a professional, a good professional, and I think you stand on, you must make confidence in this man because he's an important politician. Thank you.
Thank you very much. One word, Honorable Bayum's professional, and that cover it up. We want to say thanks to every one of you. A beautiful show. We look forward to seeing you guys not only after October 2023, but before October 2023, that we can help enhance the mindset of Liberian. The importance of going to the voting booth and voting. It is important because we cannot go back 14 years in those dark days where we killed each other and we fought for no reason. We want to exercise our constitutional right, and you guys being in Liberia is great, and we hope you can come again. We want to say thanks a lot for appearing on Spoon Talk tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Stanton.
Thank you very much, sir.
Good to see you. Have a good night home. I hope you're eating some Liberian food.
Yes.
I hope you
have
enjoying
a
the
new
food
friend
from
Guinea-Bissau.
Yes, sir.
And
Thank you.
Dr. Henry, you also have a friend.
Thank you.
About
Yes, sir.
Francine?
Francine.
Yes, Francine, my name.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, you look like
Thank
a
you.
Guinea-Bissau
Thank you
lady.
very much.
lady.
Continue using right Liberia and moving it forward.
Thank you,
Enjoy
Honorable
Liberia
Bob.
for us. Enjoy Liberia
Okay.
for me.
Enjoy. We'll meet one day. All right. All right, sir. God bless.
All right,
Answer
that too. All right. Can you give me 1 minute? Let me just figure out something. I'm on the show just 1 minute.
Yes. If you're just joining us, we just had a very, very spirited, engaging conversation with the ECOWAS Parliament. A part of the delegation is in Liberia. The ambassador has been there for the past 6 months. She educated us on various topics, especially their need to promote good governance in the region, how important it is, how they do not want us to go back to the dark days of fighting among ourselves. They talk about, the biometrics will only be involved in voters registration. They've been speaking to different stakeholders in Liberia and also mentioned how the electoral process, democracy is a two-way street. It involves the stakeholders and the Liberian themselves who will be participating in the elections, who will be the people who will be voting. So I really appreciate this conversation today. So I don't know, what was your takeaway, Dr. Peabody?
I think it was rich. I can learn a lot. And one thing I like it, they did not shy away from talking about the challenges that ECOWAS have. They said there are areas where we have a lot of challenges. There were areas where they disagree, but their voices were not heard. So it was very much a lot of education here tonight, and I think we must applaud ECOWAS. Just considering our own Liberian situation, our civil war, and with the limited resources, they sent people in our country. Even some of the people died. Some of those soldiers were killed, and all making sacrifice for our country. We must appreciate them. Like somebody wrote and said, the toothless bulldog. But they have been era where they have done a lot of job, especially using our own country as an example. ECOWAS have been very active lately when it comes to coup d'etat. They may not have the will to stop some of these government and things like that, but they have been active, and I applaud them for even coming to Liberia and to work with the different stockholders on the warning signals and what to do and some of the things that they have observed. And that was great. I like what the ambassador said: engagement, 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 especially with the youth and all of that. I think it was a very healthy conversation, and I appreciate them coming on talking to us.
Yeah, absolutely, Dr. Peabody. And one of the takeaways that I had was I think all three of them, I got this theme of, Africa has its challenges, West Africa has its challenges,
Mm-hmm.
Liberia has its challenges, and we're not going to change overnight in
Yeah,
terms of our need to, impose biometric system, our need to have good governance. That, but we want to do it in our own unique ways. Our Liberian way may be similar to other African countries, but we have our own uniqueness. So I think I like how they were open with us that yes, we have challenges that perhaps just unique to Liberia or to other African country, and that we need to we're working on it. We are perfecting on other might say our own pursuit of happiness,
right.
our own pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness in this part of the world. That's what it says. So we are working. It may not be, you know,
Yeah,
perfect right now, but we're working on it. And that was a theme that stuck with me. And I think that's a hallmark of someone who's critically thinking about the nation, someone who's looking for unique interventions for our country. That we're not just going to say so say all, so say one, or one size fit all. So I kind of like that part that they were bringing to us, and I really appreciate, their presence, them coming here to use the media to educate people. Because one thing I told you, I like the fact that it mentioned that the biometrics is only going to be used for voters registration. For somehow I thought it was going to be used for the entire process. So I
mm,
took that away. That it's only going to be used for the voter registration, which I still have some kinks about it, but that's just
right.
it.
Yeah, I mean they were great, and I like the fact that they have a female ambassador to Liberia now. That's a great thing, and
Perfect.
not only, but she represented well.
She
She
did.
she knew what she was saying. I mean, when she speaks, you know exactly. You know, all of them. You know, they were informed. They
Elegant.
had the answer, very very eloquent. You know, so it was a great engagement. I think if our people listening today, there's a lot that we could have learned from, and I applaud them. Really applaud them coming. I hope we can have more engagement like
Yeah.
this. But they were great. They have the answer. The one that they put the answer, they will tell you straight up, look, man, we're having challenges in this. And
Sure.
that was pretty
Sure.
fair. You know, they were willing to accept the criticism and then
Sure.
tell us exactly what's going on. So
Sure.
ECOWAS, and then he made a mention in the other ambassador said that, look, even with ECOWAS, they'll say the same thing about OEU and even the United Nations. We've seen how many critique of the United Nations. We have seen a lot coming out of that and what they've done. So it's not a perfect organization, but I think in the weak way they have done something for Liberia, which is great. So
Yeah, and that was identified. I think the ambassador, the crewman said Liberia is kind of like a showcase state right now. We had ECOWAS intervening in our war, and so there's a lot of stake put in Liberia. Like we want Liberia to succeed. We
mm,
want her to move from some people might consider, even though she said
yeah,
like a fragile state. We want Liberia to surpass that. We want democracy to reign in Liberia. So those are all great things. I'm glad actually that they're mentioned, what,
Representative Snow.
yeah, Representative Snow, or,
I mean, Senator
Senator
Snow. Sorry, Senator Snow.
Senator Snow and I
Yeah,
can have our disagreements. I don't tend to agree with him on many things, likewise. But I think it was nice to hear them say that he's very professional in terms
yeah,
of the way that he interacts with them, that he doesn't only speak just for Liberia, although he champions our cause there, but he speaks for the region as a whole. And yeah, so it was good hearing from
yeah.
somebody else's perspective. I almost wanted to ask him, did he pay you? I know
Yeah,
citizens.
especially
Get
Kamar, uh,
did you pay them?
Kamar from Guinea-Bissau. He said he's not only for Liberia, he's for every country. So that's a good stuff there. If you get it from your colleagues and they speak highly of you, I think Senator Snow have put a lot into the ECOWAS Parliament. You know, he's between different countries, like where they have had war, where they have had other things. I think he put a lot in it, and to have him as a Liberian that is representing the group, I think we must applaud him. We must applaud him.
Mhm.
You know,
Yes.
he's done a great job in representing not only Liberia but our sub-region, and I think that requires an applause from him. Are we going to take one or two calls until CEO come on or so?
I hope he was coming. I was thinking that he was coming right back on, which I think he did say, and then maybe we can do that when he comes on.
Yeah, they are in Minnesota. I think they're getting
Mhm.
ready. I couldn't make it today. I got some assignment. I'm hoping that I'll make it there tomorrow morning. But it's just a whole lot going on this week.
Yeah.
But I was hoping that I will make it there tomorrow to just to be part of that, giving Winfred Russell the support. I think we should all do that. He's a Liberian. He's running. I think he deserves the support of every Liberian. Every Liberian in Minnesota should be voting to support Winfred Russell. I think it's important. He will not only but he's representing us, and then we'll see Liberia at a greater presence in some of those meetings and stuff.
Yeah, it looks like Yekesi is here for us to take more calls, but I was just wanted to add to what you said, Dr. Peabody. I had an opportunity to speak to Winfred Russell, who's running for mayor of Brooklyn Park, I believe, in Minnesota. I just want to tell everyone to go out. If you listen to us, please support it. The Liberians that are running, I believe, Mr. Russell said, I think there are additional three other. We had three on the show. Yeah, well, we know that Nikita Ricks is running in Colorado, but I think in Minnesota itself, I think there's additional 2 or 3 that are running. Support our own. When they get there, they're going to, speak in the interest of Liberians. All right, and we want to support our own. I tell a lot of people, my husband, I have arguments about. I have my love-hate relationship with my spoon panelists. Someday I'm mad at Peabody. Why did Peabody say that? Someday I'm mad at Ben. Someday I'm mad, sometimes I'm mad at Good Day, but so I have my days where you guys are. Someday I don't want to speak to any of my brothers on this panel, on this show. But one of the things that I'm proud of you guys about is that you tend to really do a lot of humanitarian work, a couple of weeks ago, you were visiting Melissa in Virginia. That just warmed my heart. You went to support Macan business in Maryland. And now, you guys you are going to Minnesota. So this trumps your humanitarian work, trumps all of my anger that I have. So this is why I stay on Smooth. So for people who always ask me, why you stay on Smooth? Why you stay on Smooth? So this is one reason I really appreciate it. The concept of being a part of a team, that does humanitarian work. Okay, I guess we can take some calls if nobody else have any other comments.
Yeah, but actually before they make the call, that reason, I think we owe it to Liberian brothers to give them the support. Nikita is in Colorado. She's voting, and 2 other Liberians are contesting. And this is good for our country that our brothers and sisters can be involved. We see in Somalia, Omar from Somalia, she's representing Minnesota at the Congress. I mean, we can also do that. I think Winfred is a great guy. All the Liberians that are contesting are great people. And irrespective of party affiliation, we all should rally behind them and give them support. We should do that. Definitely.
Winfred all the way. You guys missing a wonderful time here. Listen, we are in Minnesota. I received so many food already. I had to come in the big conference hall. Chairman Ben just arrived. He's at the airport. Folks bringing food. I was in the plane, Dr. Peabody, Liberians, the gentleman in first class, he said, CEO, I'm from California. I'm coming over just to be with you guys. I said, what's your name?
That's awesome.
He said, my name is Alfred Dean. Let me send a shout out to him.
Wow.
He said, you don't know me, but I'm telling you, he woke up from his seat. He said, CEO, please sit down. I said, well, man, I sit on the. He said, no, you got to sit here. I sat there.
That's awesome.
We had a good conversation at the airport. Somebody reached out to us again. You're going, yeah, we here. The person went and called their mom. And it was like the Eddie Murphy movie, right? And they were like, thank you, CEO. I said, no, don't.
Yeah. Wow.
I was like, no. I have people, listen, folks calling us, since somebody gone with Russell, they're going to, they're getting folks ready.
Okay.
Yeah, and you know, people coming in. Thank God for the Liberian office here in Brooklyn Park. You know, it's going to be a wonderful time. We will share the address with folks. We want to say, come to the town hall. We are inviting you. If you're in Brooklyn Park, we say, come on. We want to see you tomorrow. We want to see you tomorrow. Yeah, Joshua P say, I see you tomorrow. See you. All right, Joshua P. All right, and a gentleman by the name of Peter. What's his full name? Hammer. He cooked nice dry rice.
Yeah, those girls like.
Yeah, I'm missing a fool.
And somebody brought me food again. Look, it's in the bag.
Oh my goodness!
It just came in. Ben decided how to join us. He started early dry rice. He's eating. But listen, it's beautiful.
Wow.
We are here. Listen, the weather is nice.
Wow.
We brought a good weather in Minnesota, man. The weather is nice. We at the hotel, we're gonna have fun with Russell. We're gonna knock on doors. We want to invite you. Please do this for Liberia.
Yes.
Forget the opposition, imposition, or no position. Do this for Liberia because we are asking you, Liberian, please don't bring Ben on the show. Don't bring him on. The one he came late and he eat it. You see?
Bring Ben on, man.
No, don't bring Ben on.
Bring Ben on.
Why you bring Ben on, man? Guys, they're asking for the time. I think the time they how you call it, we'll be doing spoon talk. We'll be doing spoon talk from the town hall meeting tomorrow, where we'll host Russell and the rest of the team.
Great.
All right. Great. After door knocking in the morning and in the afternoon, great, we're gonna go back home, get ready, and we'll do the big town hall carry live on spoon talk. Wonderful. We want to say, please, guys, please. This is not about Russell. This is about Liberia.
Right.
This is bigger than Russell himself.
Yes.
This is about Liberia being represented. You see how they talk about Snow tonight? Honorable Bai, Ambassador Nkrumah, Honorable Kamara, they say Honorable Snow is a good person representing Liberia on the ECOWAS Parliament. This should be about Russell, that he's on this thing for Liberia, mayor, representing Liberians, representing the he and she, representing the young and old, representing the imposition, opposition, and no position. This should be about Liberians, my people. We need to go out and knock on doors and tell people that Liberia is first. Please join us tomorrow. Chairman, you see, I waited for you. I said I wasn't going there to eat. I will wait for you. And there you go, going behind our back.
I know too many people eat their own long time.
No, too many didn't eat. We
man,
all waited for Chairman.
Fuck me. That too many will not eat.
No, man, I picked money up for the airport. I picked the money up for the airport. He didn't eat. But Chairman just that's why they want to. That's why they want to. You see, that's the listen. Dr. Richard said, we waited for him, right? Mong, Tumali, myself, Russell, we all waited for Chairman.
You were on the show.
No, Chairman.
You were talking to diplomat.
Chairman, it's not right. We wait for you.
Thank you, people. You think I think you can be doing well? You can sit down for 3 hours.
I kind of hunger.
I already hungry. Like something. I eat nothing. I've been thinking about the jar here. I mean,
but the thing is, we waited for you. We waited for you, and you took listen. They got fried chicken. He sort of fried some chicken on the side. Let me see the food again. Let me see the food again.
Yeah, the food, yeah.
But let me see the food again. Look at that draft. Look at that. Oh, that's a yeah, that's a corned beef wrap.
Yeah. Wow. I had a dirty dry rice with all the
but what kind of fish? What kind of fish is that? What kind of fish is that? Is that?
Cassava fish. That a big cassava fish.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Pepper.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, y'all got
We'll have
That
a
person
we'll
get-
have a feast.
But
Yeah,
Ben,
that's listen, they bought, you know, at Long Beach, say I can cook dry red, but they won't, I give up.
Ah.
What a guy need?
That would be that dry red, I'm from here.
What a guy need? You gotta cook it. What do you need?
Who cook it? Where you at?
You know him, Hamo Peters.
Oh,
but
wow.
Bring the man on the show.
Come on,
Let
man.
him make your face. Let him make your face.
And people block the man. The man say you block his stand up.
I'll black that man, man. The man, I will black you for life.
Is that a restaurant?
If that dry red
crib.
Oh.
If that dry red touch my tongue, I will unblack you. I can promise you. But guys, we want to say we're waiting on you guys. We're waiting on you guys. Great show today with members of the ECOWAS Parliament. Thanks to Senator Snow. You did it, Senator Snow. Thanks a lot. And we just can appreciate those folks for explaining to us.
Yeah, let me. You know, I want to say something. You guys did a great interview. I was watching it while I was on the plane. Dr. Richardson, I love your questions. Dr. Peabody. I mean, I thought it was a great interview. You said something, Dr. Peabody. I think Ambassador Nkrumah is going to do well. You know, especially going into this contentious election season, especially with a woman. I think she's gonna do very well. She's gonna be, and I'm excited. I'm looking for. I'm really sad I missed it because. But you asked most of the questions that I had, and especially then clarifying that it's not voting, that it's about the registration, it's the biometrics or the registration.
But our problem is bad. This cheating election will not start with it start doing registration. It's not
I think the good news about
it's not at the voting center is doing registration. So
yeah, but the good news about
biometrics.
Is that it helps. It never eradicates it, but it helps avoid duplication. So, and that's where a lot of the issues come from. So once you have it in the system is prone to be audited, right? Once you have that database, you're able to look into it. So
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I think that the government should do.
No, I'm not in Minnesota.
The government should rather focus on that system, because if PPCC complain and they are complaining continuously, then something is happening. And I hope the government get this thing taken care of. And for the people to have a free, fair, transparent election. Kev Hassan, the folks are asking for you. Kev. I just can't say anything more than what I said. I don't know who Kev is.
Well, say hi to them. Give them my message. Please tell them who I want them to vote for. Please, I give you my message.
Take it off.
You need to stop it. You really need to stop it.
Let me get over for you. You ready? But let me say something. You guys saw McGill fire? What's going on? James, you uploaded that picture? Those pictures? No, seriously, something seriously happening in Liberia. That's
massive.
Look at this.
That's massive.
Dr. Richardson, look at this.
You cannot stop the people for loving.
No. I want to hear from Dr. Richardson. Dr. Richardson, look at this. Something is happening in Liberia.
Yeah, it's. I see a lot of people, and I'll use Jim's good day word. It is colorful. I also heard a lot of people are bussed into from Maserati, but
that already be a good sport. Be a good sport.
No, it's okay. It's okay. But Ben, let me say this, right?
Yeah.
Folks came from Kakata, Cass City. So it's okay. You run for senator. He's not running up just on a district. So, everywhere in Magibie, he would bring them. And I think he did. Listen, to bring them in, that was a good thing. He was accepting the petition of the folks from Magibie.
Sports field there, right?
So no, this is smell notice era.
Okay, yeah. That was it right around the airport.
And it's lower Magibie. Just lower Magibie.
Yeah, it's in that curve. So it's okay For him to get people from Upper Magiri, from Kakata, and all over, it's fine. It's a good thing that he provided transportation for them. But with this crowd, though, I must say to you, something happening that you guys need to open your eyes, Dr. Richardson.
You know what I see here? I see a repeat of the Edwin Snow scenario. You remember when Edwin Snow went to run in Bomi, and the entire leadership of Bomi, the political, call them the political elite of Bomi, right? The top leaders in Bomi, all of them went against him. I think by Nukwe and all these people going against McGill, I think it's helping him. And then also the fact that look, say what you want to say. Politics is local. Politics is
who we want.
Politics is local. And then the other thing that I noticed, they have changed the Buka song to for him.
To the McGill son.
Let
me end on this. Dr. Peabody, Kev Hassan, Dr. Richardson. This is the reason why the opposition rejoiced when sanction came upon McGill.
Yes, sir.
This is what McGill was doing. They say, you know what? That's Josh Manor. We are number 9. He's the striker. That's Josh Manor. We are a star player. We got to get rid of him. We got to break his leg. We got to break his wing. They tried, but see what's happening now.
But
he's coming back. He's coming back more than ever before to say, no, I'm not dead. To say, no, you can get me on the left wing, but my right leg is working. And the opposition got to be afraid of this thing, man.
But there's a danger. There's a danger for the opposition in this. The sanction has given him. Listen, first of all, the sanction has given him name recognition, right? Even if there was any place that people didn't know who McGill was, everybody know who he is now, right? And the second thing is, the sanction doesn't stop him from going around to go campaign for George. Yeah, you saw a picture of him. The backdrop that he had on his stage today. One side had a picture of President Weah, one side had his picture. And so, but I think it's going to be very interesting. I think the snow effect is happening again in Magibi, and if the folks who don't want him to win, if they're smart, I would advise him from a political standpoint. I think you let up on him.
And I think I will tell you this: though, those folks that don't want him to win, yeah, you correct me if I'm wrong. If Josh Manawea, President of the Republic of Liberia, bless McGill, forget those folks. Forget them. Nukwe will not stay in George Weah way. Whoever would come and say, no, we don't want McGill, you would never hear that. It will be the talking point of opposition. But can opposition talk on this issue? No, they cannot. Because opposition themselves have their own wahala when you talk about sanction. So I think my belief that if this thing was done by opposition to bring sanction on McGill, I think they did it early. And they have reawakened a sleeping giant. They're going to have a bad effect on them. And that's what's happening now.
That's why I said earlier on the show, folks would like it, folks would not like it, right? There's no law that bans McGill from running, okay? Secondly, the Liberian people choice. If they vote for McGill, that's a choice. But let's say this: that Nukwe is as corrupt as anything else. It's just that he didn't get on sanction list yet. He coming out and telling people, oh, the corrupt and he's as corrupt. So you can't, another corrupt man cannot say another man corrupt. That's nonsense. Nukwe is very corrupt as well. So I mean, it's left with the Liberian people, and people don't like me when I say this. When I say it's left with the Liberian people to decide who
you're right. You're right. Peabody, I heard Dr. Richardson earlier when I was on the plane. I heard your dialogue, the two of you.
Yeah.
And I was I understood where she was coming from, but then I think also, Dr. Richardson, there's a dangerous path that you were treading, right, from the opposition perspective, because when you draw the analogy of possibly the people don't know what is good for them, or in that kind, and I'm not trying to rephrase what you said. I'm just trying to, I'm sure maybe you clarify it. It's a very tricky, it's a very slippery slope, because again, like I said, all politics is local. The people Look, whether you like it or not, the people in these remote villages don't even know what they call sanctions. To be quite honest with you, they have no idea what it means. All of that noise is Monrovia base. Is where
the people in the villages say that the Americans.
Ben, not to
Let me
cut
tell
you
you
off,
how they
let me
know that the
respond
Richard
to
say. I
what.
beg you. That's originally real quick. You know what the people saying in the interior? The American people stop migrate from going to America. That's how they believe sanction is.
No,
The American people stop migrate from going to America. But you are right, Ben, because if the people don't think so, look at the numbers. Look at those that came out today. And let's give that to Richardson the time to speak on this thing, because I think that Richardson had nothing. I don't think she got anything to say in this one, though.
So what I was actually going to say to you, Ben, just to clarify what I meant. You're right. The people in the rural part of Liberia don't understand or may not have like information on the sanction or what a political leader have done for them. So it is incumbent upon us, some of us who are not bothered by crowdsourcing or whatever it is, to continue to educate our people, let them know, that this is what you look for in terms of voting for someone who can contribute to our country. I wasn't actually saying that they don't know, they're not smart enough. I was looking at some different implications. I was drawing an analogy about, when somebody just don't know, like if that's what you're accustomed to. And there's a lot of different players in our body politics. There are some people who just don't know because that's what they're used to. There are some people who are gratified by t-shirt rice, and there are some people who are
instant gratification.
So that would,
and I understand where you're coming from, but again, oh, the meter. Oh, okay. The thing got no sound. Oh.
What that Richardson?
Her best friend Maggie call.
But CEO, let me say this. How can people fight certain things or say you need to educate? How can you educate somebody that the Oma know that Maggie were in that district raising funds to help her children? How can you overcome that? What kind of education will you give that Oma to say this man a bad man? And that Oma, the only thing that Oma had, Maggie helping them, Maggie raising funds to help their children. So if I cannot say Stanton Waterspoon, you're a bad man. In my eyes, I see somebody dropping down their feet on their knees at Boulevard Hotel and say Stanton Waterspoon, and you the man, thank you. How would I say something about Stanton Waterspoon? I see Achi Pompon coming down on his feet and say thank you for what you have done. You cannot spin that. You cannot say anything. No politics. Like Ben say, all the Omar then thinking, oh, they're stopping, but it may help us. You can anything you say, you add, you multiply the people for McGill. You cannot spin that. You cannot put politics on that, because the people of Magibi, one thing about McGill, he never forget about his people. They won, Ben. All you guys know that they won. McGill, but the one of this administration, McGill been traveling from county to county, different counties. He never stopped.
And Kev,
he never stopped. And he went on.
Yeah. Oh, I think somebody calling Kev. But like Dr. Peabody, like what Kev is saying, I think one of the strengths, one of McGill's strengths is that he's a retail politician. And retail politics works well in Liberia. Anybody you have seen that have been successful politically in Liberia, at whatever level, Edwin Snow is a retail politician, right?
Right.
I can name key retail politicians that no matter what you may have, your perception about them may be, on the ground, to the people, they black out those perceptions about these people. Because at the end of the day, for them, is what these people are doing for us. You know another retail politician? Sir Joseph. Sir Joseph is a retail politician. There's several retail politicians in Liberia. And I think McGill, McGill comes from the MPP background. That is the insurgency type of politics. That's what he has. So I am not overly surprised, to be quite honest with you. I'll be very, very frank with you. I'm not surprised.
Ben, you can remember on the show when Snow was running, and Snow was identifying himself with the CPP and the opposition. You remember what I said on the show?
Yeah.
Because of the people above me, I will support you, Snow.
Yeah.
So my place, I don't care where you belong, I will support you, Snow, because that's how it is.
So I think that's the ripple effect. I think that's the ripple effect. That's the ripple effect. And Steno, let me say this right before I wrap up. That's the ripple effect.
No, before we wrap up, man. Not before you wrap up.
Yeah, because
you're gonna come
I'm trying to take my second bottle of Corona.
Man, don't do this on the show, man. Don't do this.
Well, when I watch it on my
they put a disclaimer. Don't do this on the show.
All right, yeah, put a disclaimer.
Kev, stop. Don't do this on the show, Kev. Kev, you're not home. You're not home, Kev. I don't know where you are.
Go Kev home. You know how I know Kev home?
He said a Kasha did. Everybody can count on auntie. Ain't that saying something too? Kasha did.
Let me tell you how I know Kev home. I see a Christmas tree. I see a Christmas tree.
Yeah, Kev home.
Kev, the owner man wait take a Christmas tree down for yeah.
Kev home. But you know, but on this McGill thing, I think I think something is happening in my TV. People may not like it. Can I bring it up? Oh, yeah, but I think at the end of the day, you know, local politics, retail politics always wins. That's the problem. But I tell you what, though, Ben, be careful, because Russell said you guys going somewhere tonight. So
no, but I'm good. I'm energized.
You don't want to finish up while he preparing for you early. So
I'm energized. You know what the rice is gonna do to the rice. I told him, Jenna, the rice is also Kobo rice. Early tomorrow morning, we're gonna warm this rice and put cross.
Where you a woman at?
You go to the gym? You still go to the gym, man?
Ben forget about Jay long time.
We thought I stay in the gym. Why you talking? So when I say when you eat a gym, you
want me to eat the money? I want to see the other gym.
Yeah. My man, that weekend I'm a sport weekend, man. I mean, how you can't do more?
I tell you was sitting down in your kitchen because I have your kitchen big.
No, I'm in Minnesota, my man. Stop.
Yeah, I'm in Minnesota. Because when I saw it, I said, man, in your kitchen because I have your kitchen big.
I mean, y'all have a good night.
No, I'm in Minnesota.
I got to represent.
Well, we'll hold it down. We'll hold it down, brother.
People, it's in my store, man. You now make the trip. It's in my store, bro.
You see me the money back.
Oh, you coming?
Don't talk too much.
That's true.
Yeah.
The party.
I'm going to represent Spoon tonight to the.
I will hold it down, brother. I will hold it down.
I'm going to represent the other night. Spoon.
Oh yeah, they're having a program. And I want to send a shout out to the University of Liberia Alumni Association. They're having a program in Delaware.
Wait, is that a program? I just thought of Henry Costa. He also stood up in.
No, Henry Costa going to Trenton.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but the Delaware program. We were invited. I sent in our contribution.
Oh yes, I remember that.
Because I had to be here to help our brother Russell. So it's a good thing, man. Tomani George want to get a haircut. Russell
I need he came into that bar.
Yeah, so Tomani George is fine. You know,
Minnesota, we in town, Minnesota.
Minnesota. Vote for Winfrey Russell tomorrow. I mean,
not tomorrow. That's what people say again. Tomorrow.
Wait for Winfrey Russell in November.
You know what Hebu said? Hebu said he printing a T-shirt. He said Kev Hassan for Winfrey Russell.
Yes, Kev Hassan for Winfrey Russell. CDC for Winfrey Russell. CDC for Winfrey Russell.
Dr. Peabody, I will sue you.
I should have done that.
Ben, is this your first time here in Minnesota, though?
In 17 years.
Let me say something, though.
You know how I know?
Let me say something. This is no offense to anybody living here. I'm happy that our brothers and sisters are here. But man, this look like you left Monrovia and you went to Sano County. The place is like in the interior. No, let me get my business. Let me forget.
Man, thank you.
But man, listen. You can leave from your house and go to New York, the airport right there. 10 hours you're in Liberia. Newark Airport, you in Ghana, 9 hours. I mean, you got to take 3-4 different planes to get here.
You got American Airlines. American Airlines.
Bye.
I had a direct flight.
Somebody said, Patrick trying to do it, say no, you lie.
The Minnesota boy start defending.
You better say that thing.
Don't mind.
Oh, man, now what people here, man. But yeah, man, it's a beautiful place. You know where I am, man?
Where?
The Labrador Consulate. The Labrador Consulate office.
Good.
Yeah, that's why I'm doing the show for.
Something I'm very surprised.
And let me say this. This guy don't want me to say. This guy is working his why off. This guy at this office, I don't know, you can have your problem with him. He's doing extremely well. Mr. George, that represents Liberia here, brother, I walk in the office. You know that he is doing extremely well. I hope that we can have the time with him tomorrow, sit down with him, and let him just tell Liberian what he goes through.
Yeah.
Helping Liberian here in Minnesota, Kev Hassan. Helping Liberian to get what they need, that you don't have to travel to New York. Every document, every help you may need here in America or in Liberia, any part of the world, this guy is here helping Liberians. He's showing me documents. He telling me what he's doing, like people walking here on a Saturday to be served. And we hope we can have him. We need to tell the story that to Peabody. We need to.
We'll highlight him tomorrow.
He's doing extremely well for Liberian.
Addison George.
You know, and right next to his office, there's a gentleman, a Liberian, that have a real estate business. See his office. Liberian doing extremely well here, man.
So you see,
we need to say this thing.
So that by you talking, I have an idea, and I will share it immediately publicly. I think we need to do some kind of show, and we need to dedicate a show to highlight Liberian success stories around the world, specifically in the US.
Yes.
We need to highlight, pick 1 or 2 Liberians. There's amazing Liberians doing amazing things around.
Yeah, Kevin Johnson, he's doing a great job there too.
Yeah, we get caught up in the politics. Let's stand on. Let me say this. Somebody like you, without Spoon, nobody would have known who you were. Let's be honest, right? Without Spoon, nobody would have known the work you have done. Nobody would know how successful you are. So we need to take our people now and elevate them so that people can start to aspire to be something other than just what they see every single day, which is politics and jumping in the street.
But let me get correct. That's
the question he asked me. And I said, you know what? He asked me, he said, Stanton, why you guys can discuss all these Liberian businesses here?
Yes.
You know? And I think we should be bringing them on. Whether we charge them or not, we should bring them all. Where you are, the gentleman, Ben, what's his name, Peters?
Yeah.
Listen, Liberia own group homes.
Yeah, he was saying
he was telling me, he said, man, we got this thing, they are paying a lot.
Yeah.
So listen, folks, though I'm saying this about Minnesota that is too far from Liberia, but James, they got some good people in this place doing some good things for Liberians. I should tell you. This guy over here doing extremely well. Excuse me, sir. Can you come 1 minute? Yeah. And let me say to you guys, maybe one day you have the time. We're not going to talk to him now, but this is the man. And your full name, sir?
Jackson George.
Jackson George.
George, okay.
Jackson George. He making things happen here for Liberian. You don't have to travel to New York or Washington, D.C. You don't have to do any of this long fax, email, whatsoever. Listen, we're going to have a conversation with him. I was so impressed when I came here. And I must tell you, I'm happy to be in Minnesota for the first time in my life. And thank you very much.
Thank you
very much.
18 years. It's been 17, 18 years. Because you know,
we're going to talk, right? Sure. I think we're going to talk, Ben. When you come here, we'll sit down with him. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it. Yes, sir. You have a good day, man. Good evening. Good night where you are. Huh?
Good night, guys.
I'm going to pick you up. That means also pick you up when you ate all the dry rest.
I can come home.
Cafico, good night, guys.
Yeah,
I can see.
I'll hold it down.
I go to a program. The Librarian Associate Trenton. I will be at your program in the next 1 hour.
All right, guys.
All right.
And it's so that we're in town. We're in town.
Cafico. Get happy. Kevin got nowhere to do. Get happy. All right. All right. All right.
Okay, folks. So that's all the time we have to be here. Join another edition of the Spoon Talk on tomorrow at the same time, 8 o'clock. My name is Yekezi Zobel, and of course, James Goodday Flomo has been here as well. Have yourselves a pleasant good night.